one thing but steady strong, building something lasting while the world moved on. He said, son, don't chase what fades away. Build your name in deeds, not what people say. Now I stand where he once stood, trying to do what a good man should. Integrity is all we have, the fire inside our chest. Without it we are hollow, we are less than our best. I'll make my father proud, I'll raise my children right, stand for what's good and keep my honor inside. This land remembers sweat and song, every breath laid where we belong. I'll teach my son that worth is as good as gold. It's in keeping your word till the day you're old. I've seen the easy past, the silver lies, but truth shines brighter than any disguise. Integrity is all we have, it's the backbone of the soul. Without it we are lost, no compass, no control. I'll build a better world for those I love and know, with honor in my heart and faith to sow. I don't need fame or flashing lights, just quiet peace on honest nights. Let my children see me, a man of roots, not vanity. Integrity is all we have, the gift that time can't steal, the proof that what we stand for still can't heal. Father, I hear you, your words still guide my hand. I'll keep your flame alive across this land.
Hey guys, thank you so much for being here.
So here's to the builders, the dreamers, the true, who hold the line no matter what they go through. We'll bring back the morals your generation knew, 'cause integrity, that's what makes us new.
We really need to start thinking about integrity again, guys. Trying to bring that back. Thank you very much for being here. Thank you very much for following me over from that last stream and being there part of that last stream. If you didn't see that last stream, feel free to contact me in my Discord and I will give you the link to it and you can see it. It's not a topic I like talking about, but it's a topic that needed to be talked about. Now, on to something a little bit more entertaining or more fun, more lighthearted, right? Welcome back, my glorious Tater Nation. It's me, of course, your friendly neighborhood potato, peeking out from beneath the soil, watching the world grow and occasionally trip over its own shoelaces. And you know us potatoes, we have lots and lots of eyes. We like watching all those interesting things that humans do up top. From culture to politics, from history to the headlines, from common sense to complete nonsense, breaking it down as only a potato can. Today, we're going to be digging in, brushing off the dirt, and taking a good, honest look at what's really going on. So grab a seat, grab a snack, preferably a potato, and let's see what the world looks like today through a potato's eye. And as always, let's start with our inspiration. I grow best when others are around me. Isolation dries the roots. And of course, Bruce Lee, to taste my cup of water, you must first empty your cup. You must empty your expectations in order to understand my expectations. If you're going to come to our country, you have to understand what our country is all about. All right, so let's see. Who do we have in the chat so far? World Radio, appreciate the engagement. I think you're from not necessarily from the other stream, so appreciate the engagement. Hope that everybody followed me over from the other stream and come here pretty soon, but if not, I understand. Vosh Schmidt, thank you very much for the engagement. Excellent doing the job doing the last stream, Tater, doing God's work. I appreciate that more than I can tell you. Birds Aren't Even Real, thank you very much for following me over. I haven't made any music in a while. Might be fun to do tonight. Yeah. We definitely need to get a music making party together. I was kind of waiting for more people, and then I kind of took a dip in viewership, and now I've kind of gotten viewership back. So I kind of want to start thinking about getting the stream put together for that, where we have a decent amount of feedback on it, so that we make some good music off of it. But we might be able to make some of it tonight too. Definitely wanted to do something fun after that last stream, but I wanted to get some engagement, so I went with the debate with Andrew. A high class tater defined as gratin of heights. Appreciate you, Mr. B. And again, appreciate you being here, World Radio. And as always, appreciate everybody that is watching. So we'll get over into something funny to start out with here. Some of these things are funny and some of them are not, because there's been a lot of stuff that I've been trying to bring to the front, and I don't remember it if it's not saved to the funny section. And of course, most of this stuff is not that funny. This is kind of funny. Maybe.
In Europe, as the EU Parliament.
So speaking of the EU and the Parliament and all the illegals there, this is kind of funny. Hey, Craig, good to see you. Appreciate the engagement coming over and following me over. We have artists in this sphere too. Yeah. In fact, in my Discord, there's a couple of artists, like actual like drawing artists and like computer artists, like they'll render stuff and whatnot. So if you're not part of the Discord, definitely check out the Discord. I have a lot of AI music. I know it's AI, but I have a lot of good songs. It doesn't sound AI. It sounds legit. Some of it does have AI to it. But anyway, long story short, check out my Discord, please. Have you ever checked out the full For Null and his Dragon Synth Adventure streams? Nope. Can't say that I have. Doesn't sound familiar. I'll have to check it out. And again, if you're in the Discord, you can drop anything in the Discord. Like when you drop in, you're going to drop into Welcome Sprouts. Probably going to change that so you drop into like the rules channel. And once you get into the access to the Discord, you can drop stuff for me to see. I'm real active in my Discord. All right, let's see what this has.
A historic moment in Europe as the EU Parliament votes 418 to 218 to deport all illegal migrants. They're shouting, send them home.
The first reading.
It's about fucking time. So if this is the case, and if this is actually what's happening, then maybe what we just covered may be coming to an end. I don't know, but it just sounds like they're just deporting illegals, which, hopefully it's just the illegals that are the issue. But who knows? On a note that's not so funny, but I do want to kind of talk about it. This is something that people aren't really talking about when it comes to like data centers and the expansiveness of the surveillance state that we have. Now, this is a video, and how much can you believe of videos? And this guy, how much can you believe of what he's saying and whatnot? But please listen to this. Please take it under advisement and pay attention to these as they come along.
My apologies to you guys. I should have actually informed you to wear something that would have covered your face a little bit more, like sunglasses or something.
Why?
Because they have facial recognition in these, and artificial intelligence facial recognition in these cameras, so they can see you. And they'll figure out who you are. I'm Jake Forts, and I'm the resident here in Iowa Street in Lowell, Massachusetts, and you're at my humble abode. So that is the largest part of the Markley Group data center here in Lowell. In Massachusetts, in theory, you can't have a surveillance camera looking at somebody's backyard. And what the hell is that doing in the middle of a residential neighborhood? Without saying too much, being in camera view. It's been ascertained.
Why do you have to say that?
These cameras are high-tech. They're $1,000 a pop.
So again, you're not supposed to have cameras shining in backyards. We're talking about privacy at that point in time, right? I've been referring to the flock cameras, the automatic license plate readers that aren't just reading your license plate. They're reading a lot of different stuff about your car, getting a understanding of the pattern that you do, trying to figure out what they can get you with, because like we were just talking about in the other stream about the privatized prisons and the fact that they have quotas and they've got to keep to these quotas. And as people start to get better about committing crimes or less committing of crimes, they've got to figure out ways to make the crimes stick. So I think I might have mentioned it at one point in time, but I read a story about a girl that got a $1,200 fine for having her phone upside down, so screen down, not using it, both hands on the wheel, and she got a fine of $1,251 that she'd have to pay. Now, how do you contest with that? Now, there's a picture of it being in her lap, sure, and you can take it to the court, sure, but are they going to give a fuck? So we got to be really careful about allowing these processes to just willy-nilly come into our town without any kind of actual question on what's going to happen once they come into the town. Because like we're just about to find out, this data center, if this gentleman is telling the truth, allegedly, whatever you want to call it, if this is actually happening, they didn't release this information to them until they were in the town, and then there was no release of information. They just did it. Let's see. Wi-Fi, it's happening in your town. My brother said you can't really get away with any crime over there. So it's funny because people are like, oh, well, if you don't have anything to hide, what do you got to worry about? That's not really the case. It's really not, because when it boils down to it, they've got to keep those quotas. They've got to find something on you. Yeah, Bandit. Yeah, for real though. We took the wrong lesson from Person of Interest. Hey, Marcelary, good to see ya. I just got here, but gotta be hands free because I am taking up the rest of the peel and stick floor in this soon to be laundry room. Happy Father's Day to everybody. Appreciate that, Marcelary. Good to see you. Appreciate the engagement and the view. Let's see. Sorry, Craig. It's crazy how there are plenty of criminals to arrest, but they still have to be intrusive to civilized people to meet their quota. I wouldn't be surprised if they had racial quotas too. Good point, Craig. I might have to watch V for Vendetta. I think actually we'll maybe have to put that on the list of movies for the movie night. If you're not part of the Discord, we do have a movie night every third. I think that's what the poll had come out to. We might do another poll when we have more people in the Discord. But long story short, we do a movie night on Saturday nights. And we might put V for Vendetta on that movie night. Right now, we're going to be doing Princess Bride is the next movie on the list. And we'll be doing a poll for the next one in line. Where is this data center? Same happened in our town this month. Holy crap. Yeah, we got to be careful, guys. We've got to be careful because they're called data centers, but they're in reality privacy ruining machines, our surveillance centers is all they boil down to. Because at this point in time, we have what we need. It's all of these, the prompts that have to be saved all the time, right? That have to be saved into the data center. So if you just keep shit cleaned out and not be a hoarder with your data, we don't need the data centers. The only reason that we need the few data centers that we have is for medical and things like that, and that can stay around. But the idea that the Bitcoin operations and things like that are extremely loud, we'll get into it. I've been trying to decide on when I want to talk about it, but infrasound coming off of data centers is getting to be a real problem. But we'll talk about that as we go. Let's see. Yeah, movie night, right? It's some good shit for sure. Why is it not highlighted? There it is. Yeah, it's good. I have a lot of fun in my Discord. Privacy is just for criminals. Yeah, isn't that the truth? That freedom cough 9/11. Yeah, for real though. Seriously. All right, so we'll listen to what this gentleman has to say about what they've done since the data center has come in.
You have to be guarded on what you say around here just because there is so much surveillance and what you do. Come back and actually see like the fishbowl of which I live in. For me in this neighborhood, it
Exactly,
started
JB.
11 years ago. Markley came and they started lying immediately. 10 years ago, they put the 2 diesel engines. So if you're looking over here,
Exactly.
you can
Exactly,
see
Wi-Fi.
4 diesel engines.
So like he's just about to mention, so you can see the 4 diesel engines. See right here. And like he's just about to say, they weren't supposed to put them in. They weren't even supposed to put them in, according to the original plans. And as they've expanded, as AI has had to have its place in the data center, now they have exorbitant amount more electricity that they're using. I don't think I've talked about it yet, but there's a data center. Actually, I think I have talked about it. There's a data center in Nevada or California that they're taking Nevada's power from them. Nevada is going to be out of power. They don't even know where they're going to get their power from, which means their power prices are going to double, if not triple, quadruple in price because of the data centers that are going in. Regardless of how you want to think of it with the water, Wi-Fi, just like I was just about to say, the amount of water that AI data centers need to keep these data center running is ridiculous. And I keep constantly getting argued with about them being closed loop systems. Now, where I realize that there are some closed loop systems and the older generation data centers can stay on closed loop systems where they can capture the majority of their steam and reuse it. This isn't a standard practice for the hyperscale data centers that we're looking at in this particular case.
Engines, the furthest 2 were never supposed to be there. Actually, none of these 4 were supposed to be there. It did.
So again, the farthest 2 weren't supposed to be there. Oh, wait, none of them were supposed to be there. So again, as they come in, now I realize these are privately owned, so there's only so much that the city has control over, the taxpayer has control over, but we have to be pushing for regulations to outlaw the water usage, the electric usage, the whatever they're putting out when they're done with that water. Okay, so when they push that water over those cooling plates, it is collecting some kind of contaminants. And do they process it to be drinkable when it gets done? I'm afraid I'm here to tell you that they do not get it to drinkable. They get it to be treated and then throw it back into our ocean. That's what they're doing with the water coming out of these data plants. Don't Call It, it says, correct, some data centers use closed loop systems. It should be legally required. I agree with you on that one. If they're going to have them at all, it should be legally required, and it should be something along the lines of, like, I don't know, something that is not usable water. Like, I realize that salt water is corrosive, so they can't utilize that a whole lot, but they've got to do something about not utilizing the drinkable water because it seems to be getting less and less at this point in time. We've done a lot of what's the word I'm looking for? Reservoirs. We've done a lot of reservoirs where we have an underground reservoir, right? If we had drilled wells and let nature process it properly, then it may have been just fine. But we have these reservoirs, and now we have to fill these reservoirs each year, and we have to process the water to go into that reservoir, which is taking power and money and chemicals and manpower and all sorts of stuff, where it could potentially, and I'm just a potato here, living under the ground, waiting for the ground to filter my water for me to drink, right? The water is being filtered through the ground as it goes through the ground if we allow water to take its place in the cycle. But we've created reservoirs above ground. It doesn't seep through the ground.
Didn't explode until they got the AI in there. So when Markley came, they told us that it was going to be one thing, that it wouldn't have a big impact on the community, and that it was going to be Netflix. And it has been anything but that. They've repeatedly changed the site to the point where this neighbor, Eileen, who has 2 water tanks in her backyard, they just...
That is wild to me. To think that you could get a freaking water tank, a 50,000 gallon tank, just plopped right next to your fence because now they own the house next door because they bought it for dirt cheap because the people wanted to get the hell out of there because of all the crap that's going on. But no one wants to buy that property now. Sorry, kind of going on a tangent on this, guys. I know this isn't necessarily the topic that I wanted to talk about. In fact, I wanted to go into more depth on this. But yeah, this is it's 2.5 minutes, and I'm going on it for freaking 22 minutes now. Holy shit. Anyway, the other day, so don't call it art. I think the data centers aren't just used for LLMs and generative art, but they're so secretive about them. It implies that they're simply expanding the invasive nature of capturing data. And that's exactly it. Going back to the cameras in the first of this video, the flock cameras, all of the ring cameras and everything that is a cloud attachment, they don't just delete this shit, guys. They're storing it for use against you and me. I've heard all sorts of different theories about them being for the underground cities, and they're the power plants for these underground cities, and they're using the water because they take the water and they store them in these power plants and things like, or these tanks underneath the ground and things like that. So I'm not sure. I don't know what to think about it. But I do know that this has got to be, we got to be careful with this. We've got to be careful with this. I'm curious if there's any kind of glitching or anything like that with this stream. Like I said, I went to StreamYards because of the quality, and so I changed the quality in my StreamYard, or I'm sorry, my OBS to be better quality, and now I'm getting the error message that I was getting before saying that I should go back down to 750 kbs, which I don't know, but I'm dropping frames about 1.6% so far. So if you guys see any glitching or anything, please let me know and I'll change shit. Maybe go back to the bad quality again or whatever for now. But anyway, long story short. The other day, you told me when I said that many use closed loop system that I was wrong. Yeah, I stand by that, JB. Many of the systems don't use closed loop. They say they do, but just like this gentleman here is saying, just like he's pointing out, they say they do something and then they turn around and do whatever the fuck they want when they get into the area. And what is a closed loop system? Do you know? On these hyperscale systems, it's pushing it through radiators that are then steamed, and that steam is no longer in the system. So whether it's a closed loop system or not, that steam is no longer closed in the system. It's let out, no longer in the immediate area. So whether that's ruining that water or not, it is no longer in that immediate area, and the drought areas need the water in the immediate area. The areas that don't need the water in the immediate areas are not even the ones where the data centers are going. So if it's really that big, if it's not that big of a problem, why are they having to go into the areas that are drought ridden? Why are they putting them in these areas? Why can't they go into, if they're going to put them in right in somebody's backyard, why can't they go in DC? Why can't they go in where the rich and the elite are, where they want them the most? Anyway, little tangent there. But like I said, I've been doing a lot of research on the systems, the cooling systems that are in data centers. And if you have better information, by all means, I'm open for new information. But when a company can do whatever the hell they want to once they're in there, who's to say that they're actually telling us the truth?
Popped up there during COVID. They started construction, didn't ask, but it's always do and ask for forgiveness later with this company. These two engines here were the first two to go in. These went in 2016, and that's when we said, what the hell are you doing? That's not where these were supposed to be. Everything that was mechanical was supposed to be on the other side of the facility. And by the way, don't worry about these folks because they sold out in December to them. Markley owns this. They own all of this. We're the last two privately owned houses on this street, and 9 Prince Ave is the last privately owned residence on Prince Ave. When he is done acquiring at cheap cutthroat rates, then this will cease to exist. He already has a plan, which he slipped in 2017, to build another building on the other side of the parking lot, where the parking lot is. Yeah. So where are those people parking? He needs to come this way.
So basically, like he's saying, they're eating up the properties around. He's one of the last holding out, and they're trying to eat up his property as well. So again, once they come into fair enough, JB. Fair enough. But we need to be careful, because once they come into the area, they lower the property value, and then that property is basically theirs to just eat up whenever they want to. Another thing that's not necessarily funny, but since we're on the topic of data centers and the Green New Deal and all of that good jazz, how can you think that this is saving the planet? These are all solar panels in a plane, so we're looking at least 20 miles by, I would say, probably a mile to 2 across. All solar panels. Nothing can grow there. Nothing can produce oxygen there. And when the sun is no longer shining, it no longer works. And now we have Bill Gates that is very much pushing for blacking out the sun, to dim the sun. And if you don't believe me, I can do some research and I can show you exactly what I'm talking about. This has been going on for many years. So if the sun is no longer able to shine at full capacity, what is the point of this? And this is bad? Green New Deal, but nothing about it was green, except for the money going into pockets. We've got to start paying attention to our food sources. All right. So now that we're a half hour into the stream, we'll go ahead and start on to the subject that I wanted to talk about. Now, this is Andrew Wilson, Jake Rattlesnake. Obviously, you probably already know I shout them out constantly, but Rattlesnake TV and the Crucible, go check them out. Good channels to watch. So I've jumped through from the intros, so we won't have to listen to the garbage there. I don't necessarily want to cover a whole lot of it. What I want to do is I want to open up the panel and allow others to share their thoughts on what's really going on with this. We'll see if the internet holds through. We'll see how it works out. And go from there. So we'll start on this and see what we got. JB says, well, we are coming off from a solar maximum. Science and shit. Solar maximum. Interesting. Guess I hadn't heard that. Thank you.
Relevant. They're the determiner of what is due
Andrew,
by your
it
own
is
admission.
relevant because the U.S. House of Representatives acknowledged that slavery was a grave crime. In fact, the United Nations just acknowledged that slavery was one of the gravest crimes that occurred in human history. So that is two forms of a government recognizing the harm done by slavery.
The
so they've
government
already
is the
acknowledged
one who gets to make the determination about what is due by your admission of premise 2. If that is the case, and you say the government owes you restitution, that would be P and not P if the government decides it does not.
They didn't decide that it does not, Andrew. There has been no
I'm sorry. Are you getting restitution right now?
I'm not getting it right now.
Now, then I guess they've decided you don't need it, and they're the determiners.
If no investigation, well, Andrew, that doesn't make any sense.
What's the problem?
How could they? Wait a minute. Stop. Because what?
Stop. Dude. You literally just said they admitted that it was a crime, that it was a wrongdoing, whatever. You said it. So if they are willing to admit it and now are no longer giving it, wouldn't that logically mean that they've deemed that you were no longer in need of it? I don't know, man. White guilt is the worst crime of all history. If slavery was, then white people are the least guilty of it. It's fair, Craig. You don't know about solar cycles? Holy shit, man! Go down the rabbit hole and educate yourself. Fair. That's fair. Well, no, I do somewhat know about what you're talking about, but yeah, I hadn't never heard of it called a solar maximum before, so makes sense.
You're doing this little syllogism bullshit that you want to try to play is not
syllogism.
So
what do you mean? You're going to come to me with a syllogism and then say, "How dare you attack my syllogism?"
Andrew, calm down.
How dare you attack my syllogism, Andrew?
Relax, Andrew. Calm down. Calm down.
What are you talking about?
Let's start from the beginning.
Telling Andrew to calm down, like. I know that it's just a rhetoric tool, and if they jump up, it's like Andrew telling who is it? Brian Shapiro and those, calm down. Hey, you calm down. Obviously, they're obviously not calm.
Start from the beginning. Okay, so calm down, relax. You already ceded premise 1 that the U.S. government did cause measurable harm. That is an objective reality. Okay.
Well, what I ceded is that
no, bullshit.
Government-backed policy, which is discriminatory towards black people.
Andrew,
if that's how you define harm,
fellas, we got to stop talking over each other. Hold on a second, Austin. So, Austin, first of all, lay it out. What do you think he ceded, and then Andrew, you can respond.
He ceded. I'll tell you. When I asked him plainly, did the U.S. government cause measurable harm? I restated premise 1 twice. I said, premise 1, the government of the United States caused measurable harm. You ceded premise 1. I know you did because I asked you twice.
Yeah, okay. But what did I cede?
I wasn't done speaking. Calm down. Relax. I know you just screwed yourself. I know. Relax. It's all right.
So emotional. So sure of himself, but so emotional at the same time. Oxymoron? I don't know.
So the rest of the crap that you're saying is now downstream of the fact you have acknowledged that premise 1 did happen. So now the rest of what you're doing is attempting to create this fog of wordplay that I'm just not going for. That's what it was, Jake, to answer that. He did cede premise 1.
Okay, great.
Now you can respond.
Yeah, so what I ceded was, this is your syllogism, it's your argument. So when I asked for a definition of what you consider harm to be, you said in this context, harm is government-backed policy, which was discriminatory towards black people. Follow-up question, Andrew, is it true that there was discriminatory practice towards black people, therefore validating what you're considering harm in this aspect? I say yes. So sure, under those terms, I'll grant premise 1 as being true based on your definition of harm. However, granting premise 1 is true based on your definition of harm does nothing for the following 2 premises. Your conclusion would be unsound if each premise is not true, and each premise is not true.
Each premise is true, Andrew.
They can't be. They can't be true.
Hold on. So now let's assume for a second that I buy the line of logic that you're using. If
Well, there's
premise
only
one
one
is
logic.
I'm sorry, what?
There's only one logic.
No, okay. Well, I hear what you're saying. Let's assume that what you're saying is fully accurate, which is it's not. Did premise one happen? You agree that premise one took place. The government caused measurable harm. You agreed there.
Yes.
So if premise one occurred, now I'm going to ask you plainly:
Hmm.
are you saying that justice does not require the government to do anything to recompense Black Americans for objectively provable harm that was caused to
It
them?
would be
by the
irrelevant, whatever I would consider justice to
It's
be.
not irrelevant. I'm asking you
Why-
the reason you're
why
saying
is
it's
it
irrelevant is because
relevant?
it would force you to answer a question that you're
Yeah,
uncomfortable
why?
answering.
It's
So I'm
okay.
going to say this again.
You have an
Are you-
argument, dude.
Are you going
We're
to
talking
Andrew,
about your
Andrew,
argument here.
Andrew, will you calm down and let me ask
Uh-huh.
you a question?
Hmm.
Are you saying that the United
Mhm.
States government does not owe Black Americans anything for the harm that it caused during Jim Crow?
No, I consider justice to be eating grass.
Sorry,
That's,
guys.
That's what justice means to me. So that's my definition
So
of
if you're going
justice.
to be this intellectually full of shit, there was really no point in me accepting this debate.
Listen,
This is
what's
hilarious.
what's intellectually full of shit.
Seriously though, JB, like I can't even imagine he would talk to Andrew in a real life debate like this if he were to be in person with him. That guy is just using intrusively dismissive tones and a disrespectful attitude as his entire debate tactic. That's actually a very fair point, Craig. He says he's a professional debater, and the entire time, not a single actual good argument that I could tell came out of his mouth. The entire time, it was just, basically, I want free money for the 400 years ago, too, dog. Yeah, like Static Cage, exactly. Thanks for joining back in, guys.
Is that you need me to define your words.
I don't need Andrew. I asked
Great,
you a
then
question.
deal with
I
the
didn't ask
actual
you to define
argument.
shit.
Then deal with the argument.
I'm asking you a question. Are you uncomfortable with this?
At least he doesn't pronounce it axe. I do have to give him a little bit of credit for that. Fucking hate that so much. Let me ask you a question.
I'm uncomfortable with you not actually dealing with the
I
argument.
asked you a question. You acknowledge that the government of the United States committed acts of harm via discriminatory policies to Black Americans.
Yeah.
I am now asking you a follow-up question, which is based on your acknowledgement of the truth of the first premise.
Seriously,
are you saying
Craig?
that Black Americans are not owed any form of reparative justice by the United States federal government?
Yeah, I don't
I'm asking you that
consider,
question directly.
for me, for Christian ethics, no. Restoration is not required in materialism.
For Christian ethics, are you a Christian?
Hmm.
In what world does that, when the children of Israel were slaves in Egypt,
That's funny, Craig.
did God not give them the gold and the wealth?
That would have been an awesome question. I would have loved to hear that. Oh my God. I'm going to have to remember that. Should white people get prize money for ending slavery, unlike your race? Because we all should know by now that it was the blacks that started it, that it was the blacks that sold the other blacks to the whites and showed that the whites could own blacks in the first place. But, you know, I'm a potato. What do I know about that? Static Age, my family is Irish. We should get reparations too. Bingo! Exactly. I got red in my beard. I got Irish in me. I got a little Irish in me. Should deserve a little bit of money.
Of the Egyptians as restitution.
No.
That's a lie.
Show it to me.
Sure. So when we go to the Old Testament, wait, oh, damn it. This shit froze. Hold on a second.
Yeah, JB, exactly. Where do we stop with reparations? Black, Asian, Scottish, Irish, natives, and any others I might be forgetting. If your plan is to bankrupt the country, there are no better ways. How about a little bankruptcy for you, huh? Static Age, fun fact. First real slave owner in the U.S., not indentured servant, was black. Yep. I'm Irish and Italian. Oi! Or no, what would it be? Anyway. Dang it, I'm just Native American. I got no prizes. But Native American gets, like, they actually do get reparations, don't they? Like, we give them money and shit, don't we? I know that we did in the oil field because it was a reservation, so we would pay them. And when the oil field, for some reason, they sued the oil field or something like that. And every single Indian got, it was like $5,000 or $6,000 or something like that. It was like, it was a decent amount of money. And all sorts of, Chrysler 500s starting hitting the road, and new business signs started popping up left and right. So yeah, it was interesting. Italians used to be called the N-word too. That's interesting. That's it. I guess I didn't know that. Again, give me a break, guys. I'm a potato living in a tiny town. That's why I call myself a potato. But in its Latin language, being the G word you hear in Italian gangster movies. Interesting. All right. Are you going to talk, dude, or?
Great time to remind everybody that we've got the Stream Elements link pinned. If anybody wants to send their questions in, they'll also be read Super Chat and Stream Elements.
So in the book of Exodus, in Genesis 15, 13, 14, God tells Abraham his descendants will be afflicted in a foreign land, but afterwards they will come out with great substance. In Exodus chapter 3, verses 21 to 22, God says Israel will leave Egypt with silver, gold, and clothing from the Egyptians. And in Exodus chapter 12, Israel asked the Egyptians for silver, gold, and clothing, and the Lord gives Israel favor in their sight. It says they spoiled the Egyptians, stripping them of their wealth, fulfilling the promise. So biblically, God did not merely liberate Israel from oppression and tell them to move on. He brought them out with substance. So what
happened? So what happened to the Egyptians?
No.
Bandit, welcome back. Came in at the wrong time, apparently, huh? That's funny. Scroll up and read back. You'll understand. That's funny. Aztecs get paid money for existing. I'm a white American who was born here, so I'm the Native American. Right? That's fair. That's fair. That's fair. That's fair.
No. Deal with that first.
Okay.
You said it didn't happen. I'm proving to you that it did.
Yeah. So what happened here was a punishment which was dealt over to Egypt because they had defied the will of God.
Okay.
Hey, welcome in, Werewolf. Appreciate the engagement, buddy. Interesting. Should Spain pay reparations to the indigenous tribes of Mexico for what Cortez did? Oh, it's a good question. Good question. Thanks for the engagement.
And were they? That's not what I asked you. What I asked you was when the children of Israel were slaves in Egypt, were they not promised reparations?
No, that wasn't reparations. They defied the will of God. That's exactly what it was,
Andrew.
No, they defied.
God didn't tell Israel, "You're free now. Stop complaining." He brought them out with wealth because liberation without rest.
I'm pretty sure he did. Actually, almost word for word at one point in time say, I saved you. Stop complaining. It was because of that they ended up in the Egypt for 40 years. Hey, Navy Bree, thank you very much for the engagement. Good to have you in. Appreciate you. I know that you're a newer subscriber. I saw you subscribe to me a while ago, so thank you very much for being here. I appreciate you. Hope to keep you around. I see you in Vic's streams every once in a while. Let's give a quick shout out to Cool Vic. If you don't know about Cool Vic, he's a damn good streamer as well. Check his streams out as well. Does a lot of Andrew Wilson. Gets Andrew Wilson to call him a decent amount. So if you like Andrew Wilson, you like listening to Andrew Wilson, he's a good guy to watch. Cool Vic is. Anyway.
Reparation still leaves the victim carrying the cost of the oppressor's sin.
Where does it say that?
I just read it to you.
Wait, say it again.
In Genesis 15, 13, 14, God establishes the promise. And in the book of Exodus, God says Israel is going to leave Egypt with silver, gold, and clothing from the Egyptians. And if you're going to say that reparations would be a form of punishment on white America for inflicting a crime upon black Americans, then so be it. It's a just punishment for an unjust crime. Unless you're going to say that now the Bible is wrong.
Abraham said, Sovereign Lord, how can I know that I will gain possession of it? And the Lord said to him, bring to me a heifer and a goat and a ram. Where are we at here in Genesis 15 that we're reading?
I'm sorry, what? Say that again?
Where are we at in Genesis here?
I quoted Genesis and I quoted Exodus as well.
Genesis what, though?
I just gave it to you, Andrew. You're obviously not paying attention. Exodus chapter 3, verses 21 to 20. Exodus, I'm giving it to you. Calm down. Exodus chapter 3, verses 21 through 22,
This
where
guy.
God says Israel will leave Egypt was
So condescending. Like, again, I realize, and I will do my best. I know that I've never been in a debate before, so I'll preference it with that. But I will do my best to give the respect to my opponent that they deserve. Right now, where we do like entertainment, and the way that Andrew does debate, he does have a little bit of condescension to his voice. But there's a difference between being condescending to a legitimately stupid opinion and being condescending through the entire debate, or trying to use rhetoric tool to sway somebody and doing it the entire debate. There's a big difference there. There's a big difference.
silver, gold,
Yeah,
and
but
pulling from
Genesis is the reference that I'm looking for. that you
Okay,
gave
I
me.
didn't. I gave you 3 references. Stop doing that. Stop sticking at one when I gave you 3.
But
You
I
gotta
just
follow
I'm
me.
just
Keep
want to
up.
follow one at a time. Can you give me the Genesis reference again?
Genesis chapter 15, verses 13 and 14. Andrew, let's start there.
Okay, 13 and 14. The Lord said to him, "Know for certain that for 400 years your descendants will be strangers in a country not their own, and they will be enslaved."
Yeah, Bandit. He really did too. He could have played this so much better. Probably still lost, but he could have been more respectful about it and possibly gained some respect from other people that may not respect him now. Like myself, for example. I have no respect for him being this way to his debate opponent, whether it be Andrew or whether it be a legitimately dumb person that has no idea what they're talking about, right? We should be trying to help people. Again, when I talked about the dialectical comparatively to the sophistry debate, I said that we should be trying to find where our opponent is coming from. We should be trying to talk to them like a friend and trying to explain our situation, our position, our point of view. We shouldn't be trying to force them to believe something that there's no reason to believe. They shouldn't believe something that they don't believe, and you shouldn't either, because it doesn't work, right?
And mistreated there. But
Are
I will
Black
punish
Americans
the
not
nation.
enslaved and mistreated in
I will
America?
punish.
Craig, you noticed that too? I don't know if you noticed or not, but I put that in the thumbnail pretty much for that reason. I don't throw shade at all, guys. I'm sorry. I'm such an asshole. I hate being ages when people are there. I hate debates when people are there just to win. Even when they know they're wrong, they should debate to reach a conclusion. Exactly. And especially if you know that you're wrong, accept that you're wrong and accept the understanding of logic. If you don't believe that you're wrong, still have some open-mindedness, because you can be wrong. Everybody can be wrong. Even Einstein was wrong once in a while. Birds Aren't Even Real says, I have zero respect for someone who wants to steal from me. Yeah, that's exactly how I feel about it. There's no one alive today that had any one relation with slavery. No one owned slaves. No one was slaves. There's nothing to pay for at this point in time. So if you start demanding things, I can't believe that they're still demanding things when they use majority of the welfare and shit. And we'll get that here in just a minute. And he'll try to pull that whites use more per capita and shit. It's fucking wild. Sorry. Nobody is forced to live in the United States today. There are even people willing to pay for others to move to their country of origin. Yeah, there's some places that'll pay you to come and sleep with their women, to have kids and stuff. It's like, wow, I need to start traveling the world. I'm just kidding. Who is this guy? Name, etc. I missed the Cool Vic stream. Who is this guy? Not sure if you're referring to the Cool Vic. So this guy is Austin Broughton something. Goes by Offscript. Austin Offscript. I don't know anything about him. I've never seen him before. don't really care to find much more of him, if that was what you're referring to. Andrew does that sometimes too, though. It's part of the whole not one step back thing. Winning is more important than the truth. Well, that's where winning. I don't know if you're being facetious or what. Winning isn't more important than the truth. If Andrew is wrong, he needs to accept that he's wrong and concede, and he has in times in the past. So I have a lot of respect for Andrew about that. JB, appreciate the engagement. Got to get back to lawn work. See you later. Appreciate you. Happy Father's Day, everybody. Real quick while we're on that subject. Happy Father's Day. You guys are the real ones out there. The ones that are willing to have the next generation, grow the next generation, and teach them what it really means to be a masculine man. I appreciate all of you. And God bless the men that are willing to be fathers. I think debates should have judges, not a poll to see who won. That's fair. A panel of judges kind of a thing. Because once you get into the polls, it becomes a popularity contest, basically, you know. We already giving reparations. It's called welfare. Exactly. Don't call it art. Exactly. We're about to get into that here in just a minute. And that's how I feel about it. If you're too open-minded in a competitive debate, it's like giving your opponent an unfair advantage. Where I do agree with you on that one, don't call it art. That's why I say we need to get back to the dialectical debate style. Both sides need to be willing to be dialectical in their debate style. Like I'd mentioned in that series of videos that I uploaded, we should be willing to give our opponent the top 3 sites, cases, reports, whatever we are going off of to build our case off of. We should be willing to give our opponent those top 3 or 5 cases, studies, whatever, so that they can learn your side. We need to start understanding each other's side and not just saying, I know better because I know better. Where I do agree with Christians, God-fearing men and women, that God is the right path and nothing else really fucking matters. We need to be able to understand where they're coming from so that they can understand by us explaining in great detail why it doesn't work. But if you can't explain why it doesn't work well enough for them to be convinced, do you really know it yourself? Again, it goes back to that teaching concept, right? Fair enough, Static. Appreciate the engagement. Yeah, I don't think he does either, Chaos. I think he just likes to win, but he does like the truth for sure. Yeah, Static Age, I agree. Defending Epstein was a little wild. I'm not sure what to think about that one. That one was out of left field. So Chaos Theory, he's referring to the Owen Schroyer debate, Andrew Wilson versus Owen Schroyer. And Owen Schroyer was taking the conspiracy theorists' stance. Yeah, sorry, Static Age. If I just read a little bit further, you answered it there. Rather to change the mind of the opponent with a potential for one's own mind to be changed, or to expose them to the view of the viewers of the debate. Yeah, so you're going to be geared toward the viewers of the debate more. But if you come with logic, real true logic and reason, that will win out because God is behind you in that case. Jesus, I didn't catch that part. I have to say that he was just being rhetorically winning the debate in that case. But yeah, it was disappointing. If you're receiving welfare, not counting SSI, Medicare, you should not be able to vote. I agree with you there, Bandit. Being dismissive of a subject in a debate, probably where the topic is something else, is not the same as defending it. That's a huge stretch. Yeah, Chaos Theory, like I said, it's the Owen Schroyer debate. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. It's interesting. It's interesting is all I can say about it. You're right. Let's move away from debates and just have conversations. And that's exactly why I started my platform and gone the way that I went with it, Werewolf, is because I want to start moving the conversations forward so that it's not trying to win a debate, right? If Andrew Wilson doesn't actually believe what he's saying, then we want to have that capability of speaking that into the atmosphere, into the ether, and have it actually stick and not just be contended with.
Finish the nation.
Wait, stop. Were Black Americans not enslaved and mistreated in America? Yes or no?
Yeah, they were.
Okay, then.
What is it? Can I finish reading
now?
Now?
Continue. Yeah, go ahead.
These are things that aren't in dispute.
Yeah, static age. I agree with that.
Your descendants will be strangers in a country not their own, that they will be enslaved and mistreated there. But I will punish that nation. Punish that nation. They serve as slaves, and afterwards they will come out with great possession. So it was a fucking punishment, bro, like I said. Anything else?
The fuck are you talking about?
So this is actually a perfect example of what we're actually just talking about understanding each other. Andrew loved the guy. This is not me throwing shade on Andrew whatsoever, but he didn't understand what Austin said there. He didn't gather what he was trying to get across, but by basically saying that the Israelites or whoever it was that was trapped in Egypt, Austin is saying that they were promised gold, silver, and clothing by God from the Egyptians, which they were, according to the Bible. They would be leaving with these certain things. But what Andrew is hearing is basically that the Egyptians are going to get this or something like that. And so it's a punishment on the Egyptians. So he's saying that it's a punishment, not the retribution. And now Austin is getting mad. Instead of going, wait. I think we're getting our lines crossed. I think we're crossing swords, if you get my drift. So what do you mean by that? Instead, he said, what the fuck are you talking about? And gets all uppity about it. Yeah. Craig, like he just gets all uppity about it instead of actually trying to understand where Andrew is coming from so he can say, no, that's not what I meant. What I meant is that God promised the Israelites or whoever it was. Again, I can't think of it right off the top of my head. Sorry, guys, but that they'll be getting gold, silver, and clothing on their way out, like a why can I not think of the word I'm looking for here? Reparation. There we go. It's not a reparation in the fact that it's just the fact that like God gave it to him. It wasn't the Egyptians giving it to him. It was God promising it. Anyway, yeah, Bandit. That's pretty much what I was saying. Yeah. I'll watch that debate at some point. Haven't seen that, but I know his context well enough to know he's despises Epstein. He said it more than once. I'm curious what the context is. That's just it. Chaos Theory is. It was an interesting one. Definitely let me know what you think when you get done with it. Because now I'm curious. Best part about that is that they did eventually leave Egypt. Yep. All right, getting back to this.
You are worse than both. You are literally worse than both.
Does the word punishment? What's the word we're looking for here? Punishment?
Andrew.
Mm-hmm.
You said you're a Christian earlier. I gave you a perfect example of punishment. So in this case,
punishment, not reparations, punishment.
Andrew, God punished Pharaoh and the Egyptians because they didn't do what? They didn't live up. They didn't honor the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Correct?
Not only does his face look like that, his laugh was too. Like it was like so cringe.
Not just that, they were also honoring demons.
They did not honor the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Doesn't the Bible say you should have no other gods before me? Yes or no?
That's true, but they also were idolizing demons.
It doesn't matter what else you're idolizing. Anything that replaces God is wrong. Yes or no, Andrew?
Yeah, generally speaking, yes.
Okay, then. So it doesn't matter what false gods the Egyptians were worshiping. They were not honoring the one God that actually created the universe. Okay?
Yeah.
All right.
Great.
So now, moving along, when in the book of Exodus, chapter 3, verses 21 and 22, God says Israel will leave Egypt with silver, gold, and clothing from the Egyptians.
That's true. Don't call it art. He was just saying that there wasn't the circumstantial evidence that kids were being trafficked, but release the fucking list. We're not going to stop. Don't stop, won't stop, never stop. Release the list. Oh, of course, I don't have that on there. Anyway, moving on.
In Exodus chapter 12, verses 35 and 36, Israel then asked the Egyptians for silver, gold, and clothing, and the Lord gives Israel favor in this sight. And the King James Bible actually says they spoiled the Egyptians, meaning that they did strip them of their wealth. The reason the Israelites got the wealth was because the
Yeah, don't call it art. Thank you for that feedback. Appreciate it. Bandit. So Egypt is better because the little hat. That's funny. Don't call it art. That sounds like more like an Andrew argument to me than him defending Epstein. Chaos theory. That's fair. He was in possession of minors. He had clients. That would be enough to imprison a drug dealer, a smuggler.
Egyptians did something morally wrong.
And God was punishing them.
Correct. So in the confines of what we're talking about, you could argue, if you wish, that reparations or some sort of governmental corrective action is a punishment on white America for a sin that they committed against blacks.
Great. I'm glad that we finally got there.
Okay. So you're saying that that's not, but you said that's not in line with Christian ethics.
That's correct. It would not be in line with Christian ethics.
How is an example that proves what I'm saying is correct not in line with Christian ethics?
Because you're citing the Old Testament, sir.
Is the New Testament, are you telling me the New Testament and the Old Testament conflict?
Well, it's not conflict.
Now that's a biblical contradiction.
It's on a continuity. But in the New Testament,
wait a minute. The New Testament is not a continuity of the Old
Testament. Austin, you have to let him get the point out before you interrupt. All right, make sure that there's equal speaking time. You are interrupting a lot. So Andrew, get the point out.
I'm not sure, Bandit. I never know what I can say and what I can't. So obnoxious. Yeah, Chaos Theory. We need to release all of the files. Where I realized that there's the redactions to save innocence, and there's a lot of unverified reports, and so it's really hard to say what is real and what isn't in the files. We need them. We need them released, and we need to be able to have our own discernment about them. Court cases, whatever the case is, something needs to change. Wi-Fi. Yeah, there's a lot of conspiracy theories on that one. And I have my own theory on it. I wouldn't be surprised if he's a look-alike that they found to basically use as a patsy so that they can, like, essentially keep him in hiding somewhere and we never look for him because he's in plain sight, according to what we believe. So we have to be careful with that even. Because I don't believe for a minute that they would be stupid enough to just really believe that they can hide someone of that stature in plain sight, like they obviously think that they can if that's the case. Craig says he wouldn't say blacks should pay reparations to each other, let alone let Western kind take broker fees from the transactions on the basis of them relying on us to handle the very transactions anyway. Doug dealer. Doug Doug Reeler. That's right. Yeah. Anyway,
one last question. Are you saying?
Wait. He wasn't finished.
You're just gish galloping because you're getting blown out on each point, like you just did on the one on punishment.
You ain't blown out shit,
bro. You got done telling me no, it wasn't a form of punishment. Now you've conceded it's a form of punishment. It's hilarious. But now back to this on continuity. This is even funnier to me. If you look at the book of Acts, you'll find in the book of Acts that how.
Oh yeah, chaos theory. It's for anybody that doesn't know. Pig Latin, you usually take the first letter of the word and put it on the end and then put an A at the end. So Ugdre. It's been a long time since I've spoke Pig Latin. Such a dumb language.
How they determine who is a Christian is by 3 criteria, right? You no longer have to get circumcised, for instance. Is that contradictory because the Old Testament does say that you need to be circumcised? No, of course not. It's on a continuity. And so the New Testament has a new covenant with it. And with that is the fulfillment of the law. Jesus Christ came and fulfilled the law. Part of how he fulfilled the law is by conquering death. He conquered death. And in his testament to his apostles, he taught us through Christian ethics how we are to treat each other going forward. That's why, for instance, in Leviticus, how do you deal with homosexuals?
Yeah, don't call it art. I think that's basically what I've been gathering from my research as well. It depends upon context. If you're just making light of things, like if you're just making light, like just laughing and having a good time about something, it's different than you making fun of something, right? This is a fun, gay topic, right? It's enjoyable. It's fun to talk about, not as the opposite terminology of that word, right? Jaw looks crooked. Probably been punched in a couple times. Tater, that's close, but it's all the resonance before the first vowel. Take onto the end and add the A. Yeah. Like I said, it's been a long time since I've talked it. My mom used to talk it a lot. She still talks a little bit, but would you have to explain Pig Latin? Where's my walker? Yeah, right. I don't know. Maybe I don't have to explain it. I'm just making sure that if anybody sees this and they're like, what the fuck is that? I saw slurs all the time. Yeah, right.
Leviticus. You wrap a millstone around their neck and you throw them into the water and then they sink to the bottom and drown. However, we don't deal with homosexuals like that in Christianity, do we? Why? Because in the continuity, you'll find in the New Testament, Christ.
You say that makes more sense, Static. I appreciate the clarification. Don't call it art. That's funny.
Came and fulfilled the law and gave us what the law is supposed to be.
So you're saying that the Old Testament no longer applies?
No, it does apply, and the law applies. However, the law is a continuum. It's on a continuity. Jesus Christ came and fulfilled the law by conquering death, and he gave Christians the methodology for which to have their ethical system.
So we know restitution carries into the New Testament because when Zacchaeus encountered Christ, he did not say, well, Jesus fulfilled the law, so therefore I owe no one anything. He says, if I have taken anything from any man by false accusation, I restore him fourfold. And Christ responds to him when he says, this day is salvation come to this house. So this restitution thing carries over into the New Testament, unless you're not going to deny that.
Read the rest of the context.
What do you mean the rest? I just read it. Matthew 5:17.
That's fair, Chaos. I guess I didn't really think about that, but yeah, that's a good way. The easiest way, because I'm not learning a different language.
Start with and this is the thing, Andrew. Hold on.
We can do that. We can do this all
Andrew,
day.
Stop. You wanted me to shut up and let you respond. Calm down. Relax. Christ fulfilling the law does not mean justice died at the cross. It means that Christ fulfilled the law's ultimate redemptive purpose, but the moral principles revealed in the law, which is justice, mercy, restitution, truth, and righteousness, are not abolished. Which is why I go to Matthew 5:17. Jesus says, think not that I'm come to destroy the law of the prophets. I'm not come to destroy or to fulfill. So if this idea of continuity somehow changing the principle of the matter, which is what we're discussing, that's a logically inconsistent argument.
The declaration counters the misconception that Jesus intended to discard Jewish law. That was not the intention.
Jewish law. You're not.
So when we're talking about the distinction here between reparations and punishment, we demonstrated in Genesis under Christian ethics. We found.
Hey, thanks, Craig. I appreciate that. No White Guilt's live stream had started, so told the live chat about this channel. They're still waiting for the stream to officially start over there. That's cool. I appreciate that. Hopefully, I get some engagement. That's awesome. Thank you.
Found that God was punishing the Egyptians for how they were mistreating his servants. Not that he was giving them restitution or reparations, but he was punishing those who had misgivings towards him. And he had prophesied that he would do so as a punishment, which is exactly what you want to do right now. You want to offer up a punishment for things I never did, things that you never experienced.
Andrew, I don't care what you did. See, now you did exactly where I was trying to lead you, because you think this is about what you did. No.
Fair.
You already, again, going back to the start of this.
Yeah, so I typically only go for 2 hours. Well, typically, I shouldn't say typically. I keep saying typically, but I've always gone for 3 hours, it seems like. So, my old stream time was 4 to 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I have now changed it. I will be starting at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, going till 6 Eastern Standard Time. The last 2 hours going forward, this one I'll probably open up the panel here before long. Actually, I should throw up a poll to see how many people want a panel, because I know it's Father's Day, so I don't want to keep you from your day. Do we want an open panel? And so I'll throw this poll in the chat. Feel free to vote. Don't have as many as we had on the last stream. Bummer, but we'll open up the panel after this if we want, and talk about it while I get some food or something like that. Bandit is 426. Damn. Bandit, you saying you're 37? You troll.
Argument. You ceded premise one, which is that the United States government, which is still in a currently existing institution, caused measurable, documentable economic harm to Black Americans. That is a fact.
Mm-hmm.
So therefore, the institution, which is still currently existing, the U.S. government is still around. The Constitution.
I appreciate the engagement, Craig. Yeah. So I guess it is for today. So normally, from going forward, I will be opening up the panel after the stream. Today, the only reason I'm iffy on it is just simply because it's Father's Day, so I don't know if there's enough people that want to join the panel for it to be worth opening up the panel. But for going forward, I have a decent amount of people that like to join my panels, so I'll be opening it up after the stream going forward. This time, I just started with that 2 hour long grape culture report, and not going to talk about that on the open panel, so I wanted to start this one up before I get into the open panel, so I wanted something to talk about on it. Anyway, sorry. Who confused me with Emmett? I'm not a vampire. Bandit. That's
still the supreme law of the land. This is not about blaming white people. This is about blaming.
I didn't say it's about blaming white people.
Andrew, I didn't say what you said. I'm simply making a point. It's called rhetorical. The point that I'm making is that the U.S. government, which still exists, caused documented, measurable harm to Black Americans. Because the government caused this harm.
That's the premise that's where we get the problem with the premise.
Can you allow me to finish?
Fair enough, Craig. But maybe I'll jump on. Yeah. Anybody that's part of my Discord is welcome to join. If there's a mod available, I don't know if there's a mod available tonight. Usually I have people vetted before they join on the panel. That way, you're going to be on live stream. It's going to be possible to be clipped. We advise you to use TOS, or you're going to be removed from the panel. Those kind of things. So if I don't have a mod available, I'll probably open the panel up on a different channel. But typically, I have the mods vet people and let them know what's going to happen. Bandit, I will be opening up the panel probably in about, I don't know, I thought I was closer to it, but maybe I need to jump forward. They talk about per capita, And I was really wanting to cover that essentially because that was kind of what I was going to be wanting to talk about on the panel is per capita. Why is it so hard for people to understand per capita as well as the idea of paying reparations past what we already do in welfare and the likes? But like I said, he tries to pull that, well, you spend more in per capita bullshit. So I'm trying to find that spot. So we'll see if I can find it. Yeah, chaos theory. We all do chaos. Leia says, yeah, right. So I want to say it was like fucking an hour into it. So maybe I'll just jump here. Hopefully this is right.
You're saying that today the American government is currently subsidizing black culture.
Yes.
Yeah, this is it.
Through what metrics?
Well, we could look at multiple metrics. The first would be DEI. That would be a good metric to look at for subsidization. Another one is that the government
How is that when white women made up? Wait a minute, hold on. Black people, wait a minute.
Let me give you the list real quick so that you have.
Hold on, but let's start with DEI for a second because only 3% of black people made up. Black people only made up 3% of all DEI hires. Andrew, the largest benefactor of DEI has been proven to be white women, so that's a lie.
So let's back up real quick.
No, address that point first.
Yeah, let's start with per capita. Do you agree with me that there's way more white women than there are black women?
Yes, but that does not, again.
So why don't we? So
wait a minute, Andrew. Let me answer that in full.
Okay.
Based on multiple studies that have been released by the U.S. Department of Labor and multiple studies that have been conducted for DEI, the largest benefactor of all DEI platforms or programs was white women.
And per capita? Which is the number that actually matters.
Are you saying that per capita and white farmers too? Yes, as well. White women and white farmers. Yeah. Per capita, I don't have those numbers right in front of me, but I mean that's simple.
Did you not just read the per capita? Was that not what he just read? And then he's trying to say that he doesn't have the figures right in front of him. Bandit pro tip: if you are using Pig Latin in chat, spell it phonetically. Phonetically, whatever it is. See, I don't even speak well. I don't even English well. Too many X's and I's.
That's a simple Google search. I mean, it's not like we're not sitting right in front of our computers.
Yeah, so then look it up.
So you're saying is per capita, who's the largest benefactor of DEI?
Yeah.
Okay, so per capita, who's the largest benefactor of DEI programs?
Per capita, yeah.
Okay. White women, veterans, people with disabilities, and various racial and ethnic minority groups, depending on the program.
And what programs?
It's varied. It varies. There's no universally accepted national ranking across all DEI programs, but the evidence from employment and educational affirmative action suggests that white women have often been among the largest beneficiaries of diversity and affirmative action policies per capita.
And now what about black women versus black men?
That's race internal. That doesn't matter.
Why does that not matter?
Because we're looking at what we're looking at. You said that the government subsidized black people, but what we just looked up proved that the largest benefactor, even per capita, is still white women. So now what you're asking is another question.
I'm actually not sure on the per capita. I'm not finding the actual per capita answer. What you gave me seems to line up specifically with the proportionality, or specifically when you say the most amount of DEI hires are white
Craig,
women.
Appreciate it.
I can concede that that's true, but I actually can't find the per capita disproportionality.
There's no universally accepted number, Andrew. I just quoted that.
Yeah, so
I didn't make that up. I just read it.
So that's the problem, right? It's like black women are only 6% of the population, 7% of the population. So you would expect that white women would be the ones who would get the most amount of DEI hires.
Andrew,
how is it terrible?
Because you're literally now running from acknowledging that what you said was not logically consistent.
How is it not logically consistent?
You said the U.S. government subsidizes black folks, when if that's true, nationally speaking, they should still outperform white people in DEI programs, and they don't.
They do.
Okay. Under what source, Andrew? Provide the source, because now you're making the positive claim. So where's your source?
So it's not just DEI when you're talking about subsidies, which is why you cut me off before I could give you my list. So when we're talking about subsidization for Black people, we'd also be taking into account school. We would be taking into account direct payments when it came to welfare, when it came to all
the largest recipients of welfare are white people.
Let's do per capita. Let's do per capita.
Let's do per capita. Per capita, who is the largest recipient of welfare payments between Black Americans and white Americans, or Black Americans and all Americans? Which one you want?
Either.
Both. Sure.
It's so bad right here when they finally finally get into the per capita, and he's just trying to obfuscate and beat around the bush and move the goalpost. Craig, so this guy is admitting that they never intended to treat gender as an oppressed identity, but that they just used white women and now throwing them under the bus just like they do white men. Exactly. Glea, this guy's got to be in Virginia. That's funny. They needed to initially convince white women that they will benefit from playing along with the anti-white narratives. It's DIE, not DIE. Yeah, right. Oh, that's funny. All right, let's see. And again, if you guys haven't seen this debate, feel free to check it out in the description below. I'm pretty sure I put it in the description. If not, I'll try to get it in there. And then I do have 251 subscribers. I was really hoping to hit 250 subscribers this weekend because I had like 247, and I reached that. So I am halfway there. I'm a little over halfway there. So, fuck yeah! Let's fucking go. With that being said, I do want to get something going on, whether it be a music making stream like we were talking about in the chat earlier. Not necessarily tonight because we want to open the panel here within the next couple minutes. But maybe next weekend we'll do a fun stream of just making music if there's enough people that want to do it. If there's not enough people that want to do it, I don't want to subject a bunch of people to doing something that we don't want to do. Chaos Theory, thank you very much for that. Go! Where is it? Oh. Not exactly what I wanted, but it'll work. All right. Anyway, getting back to this.
Received per capita, white Americans receive the largest amount of welfare benefits because
we're not talking about total dollars.
Stop.
Talking about total people.
I'm answering the question, Andrew.
Okay.
I'm answering it in full. Relax.
Okay.
Historically, Black Americans have had higher participation than white Americans in programs such as SNAP, TAMP, SNAP, which is food assistance, TANF, which is cash assistance and Medicaid. White Americans, because of their larger population, often receive the largest total amount of benefits still across many programs. When you include programs also heavily used by the elderly, such as Social Security and Medicare, white Americans per capita receive the largest share of total benefits because they still do make up a larger share of the older population. So
he just lied. I don't know if you caught that or not, but he just lied saying that the white Americans make up the most per capita of welfare.
So Black people per capita receive more SNAP benefits.
Andrew, are you listening?
Read the part.
It's still white people.
No, it's not.
I just read it to you.
Read it again because you don't understand what you just read. Read it again.
Oh, that's fair Wi-Fi.
I'm not reading it again.
Fair.
And you don't understand. You obviously didn't listen. Obviously, your ears ain't working. So
yeah. So here,
seriously, Craig,
from the other side now. Go.
On a per capita basis, Black Americans participate in means-tested welfare programs such as SNAP, food assistance, TAMP, Medicaid at higher rates than white Americans. Now, let me read that for you again, sir. On a per capita basis, Black Americans participate in means-tested welfare programs such as SNAP, food stamps, TANF, and Medicaid at higher rates than white Americans. What are you confused about?
Not sure how he misread that, but yeah, Werewolf, exactly. The look of satisfaction when he read that was so weird. He was so sure of himself and like was lying out of his ass. Yeah. Hey, Scott, good to see you. Appreciate the engagement, man. Yeah, he was lying. Hey, time to think, sheeple. And for real, time to think, sheeple. Seriously, good to see you. Appreciate the engagement. I think you're the new person, so hope to keep you around. Thank you for the engagement, man.
Anything? Not confused about anything. Confused, well, I'm not confused about anything, brother. What I'm trying to get you to see is that even what you're saying. Wait a minute. That's still so. Wait a minute. So you're saying that welfare is a form of a government is a government subsidy, and that is that a form of reparations to you?
Yeah. Whether we consider it that, whether it's called that or not, you are disproportionately using the system. Yeah, whites do make the majority of welfare recipients, but not the per capita. Thank you very much for that engagement, Craig. Wilson's for the win, for sure, Time. Again, appreciate the engagement. Scott, good to see you, man. Good to see you.
It's a subsidization.
That's not what I asked you.
Yeah, so if we're tying it back to my earlier argument, I'm saying that if it's the case that the government is subsidizing black people at a higher rate, then what's happening is the government has no money. They're taking money from one group and giving it to another. So how this works in real
taking money from you act like black people don't pay taxes. So what are you talking about?
I'm trying to explain to you how this works in real time. So if it's the case you're going to vote for somebody, you only vote based on generally two criteria. It's either I'm going to take less from you or I'm going to give something to you from somebody else because the government has no resources.
Yeah, the per capita is their Achilles heel for sure. And if you're not part of my Discord, I have an emoji that I'm going to make, like one of the first emojis when I get members. And it's my potato, like doing the whole imagination like SpongeBob does, but it's got per capita. It's awesome. I'm going to make a shirt out of it too. I just haven't been brave enough to get the hate that I'll be getting off of that shirt. Oh man. And then when I do get members, one of my first like the little emoji that goes next to your name, you know, I think AVG has a G next to hers, and like anyway, long story short, I have a potato with like a Bane mask on. And it's got starch power on the tank that he's breathing. Anyway, sorry. I had to brag about myself there for a second. So Austin's point, you're going to take tax dollars from black Americans and give the money to other black people, basically making reparations redundant. Yeah, right?
For the resource. You are born with a Social Security number. And your Social Security number is what the government bets against before it begins to incur debt, things like this, because they're betting that you're going to pay X amount of taxation. So that's literally how the system works.
Leia, you'll wear it. That's funny. That's funny. I might have to just do that. I need to start like actually like tagging them, right? This one has the potato talks. So this one is fairly sponsoring. But my other ones, I need to have like a potato's eye or something like that on it. I think the one that says growing, planting the seeds for trees that will never sit under the shade of. I'm pretty sure that one has a potato's eye on it. But I don't think the other ones do. That is why it's ridiculous. Yeah, Leia, for real, werewolf. Anyway.
So you're saying that a system that black people pay into because black people are taxpayers just like everyone else, and the large funding for welfare comes from the American taxpayer. You're saying that that essentially black people subsidize themselves when you break it down. That's what.
No, they're not subsidizing themselves. They're being subsidized by a different group of the population because the government itself can't offer any subsidies. They're only offering money from one group to another. So when you think about it, the government's not the one providing reparations. Or even the subsidization, it's white Americans. And
And if you're disproportionately taking more from the system than you're putting in, you're not really paying taxes. You can call it paying taxes because you're essentially going through the motions, but it's like going to somebody's house and giving them $10, but then taking $50 from their safe without them knowing. You're taking more from the system than you're getting back from the system. You're not really paying taxes at that point. That way I'll get all the hate. I'm used to it. Fair enough, Leia. I do need to have it made though. I was part of the reason I didn't have it make was because I had 4 shirts being made as it was, and I didn't know how the printer, the person themselves was, if they were going to be all offended by it or not. But I definitely should send it in now that I know that the quality is decent and things like that. I should get them sent and get some more made.
And other general working class Americans who are providing that subsidization for blacks. So I feel like based on your...
Right on, Craig. I appreciate it. Yeah, I've got 4 shirts right now. This one, I've got one that says, planting the seeds. I've got one that says, I could be a potato. And then we're best spuds. And so if you go back through my other videos, you'll see the other ones probably. I usually wear them on stream to try to promote them. But they are on my Patreon. So if anybody would like to join my Patreon, you're welcome to join my Patreon for free. Or I think I have like a $3 tier. I didn't realize you could go down to $1. I might be changing that up. But I don't have very many people on there, so I haven't really done much with it. Scott says, I want reparations for all the welfare paid per capita, right? For real, though. Werewolf Tater stickers of the Discord emojis would sell fast. Yeah, so that's another thing is I need to get some actual sticker collections, and I don't know if I want to do like all of them all at once because like I have like 50 different emojis, or if I just want to do them in batches of like 10 or something like that and do like books of stickers or something like that. But I don't think the printer that I've found so far has stickers available. I need to check though. You got to check quality and temp check the shirt maker. I would just honestly ask, like, hey, I'm super conservative. I'm trying to make something my followers would like. Would you print X? That's a good point, Leia. I don't think that she'll have a problem with it. The area that I live in is pretty conservative. Unfortunately, though, there have been some trans. Damn. Why am I drawing a blank today? Protests. There have been multiple protests in my area, and I didn't really think that we would have them here. I thought we were pretty much off the grid and far enough. We're not. It's getting here even. Off topic. I saw a truck from Carolina Squat, and I went from anarchist to tranny in a split second. I am lost. I saw a truck with a Carolina Squat, and I went from anarchist to tranny in a split second. Carolina Squat. I'm assuming that's where I'm getting the disconnect. So I'm not sure what a Carolina Squat is. Anyway, we'll move into the open panel here before too much longer. It looks like we've got a few votes for the open panel, so I will be opening it up here before long. I don't think I have a vetter for the vetting room, so more than likely it'll just be in the vetting room. For those that are just joining my Discord, you wouldn't be able to access it otherwise unless there's a mod in the chat, but I haven't seen one, I don't think so. All right, so let's see. I kept my word with getting no white guilt's merch, and same for Noel's merch. I only didn't with streamers who were stubbornly stuck in the anti-white narrative. Fair enough. Oh, tyranny! Tyranny! Did I read it wrong? Or did you spell it wrong? Now I'm trying to find it. Fuck, I'm lost. Can't find it now. Damn it. It was probably my fault anyway. Let's see. I kept my word about getting no. Oh, wait. All right. So I appreciate you guys. We'll see what else we've got in on the subject of per capita, and then we'll move into the
argument. If that's the case and justice requires giving what is due, then Black America should give back to the group which is being taken from, which subsidizes.
So you're telling me that Black Americans should give back to...
Usually. Not surprising. Fair enough. It's been a long day. Oh, I see Bandit correcting it now too. Sorry, Bandit. My bad. All right. Let's see.
White Americans.
Mm-hmm. If we want to follow your ideals of justice, yes.
That's not my ideal of justice. So my ideal of justice is that Black Americans shouldn't have to, based on what you're saying, for at least the next 60 years, Black Americans should have to give white Americans shit, because Black Americans were systematically subjugated from wealth creation by by a white government that was in power that kept us from owning homes.
Well, as long as we can laugh, that's all that really matters. That's apparently tyranny and tranny. What's the difference? I'm just kidding. Anyway,
it was a wealth generation.
But I thought you just said that I'm not responsible for that, and you're not responsible for that.
I said the government. I didn't say you, son.
Yeah, great. But right now, there is a responsibility for the people who are alive for injustices which are happening. And if justice is giving to a person what is due them, then what is due to whites...
What definition of justice
from the Black community? Yours.
Well, now I'm going to ask you what definition of justice.
I'm using yours. Your definition is justice requires.
How is anything due to white Americans when they've had an economic advantage in this country for much longer than Black Americans?
I'm trying to explain it to you, right? Whether or not
Black
Americans. I can't explain it to you. No. Okay.
No. Who has had an economic advantage in this country for a longer period of time? White or Black Americans?
White Americans.
All right, then. So what you're saying literally makes no fucking sense.
It does. It makes perfect sense. If it's the case that there is no current systemic racism by your own admission, which is keeping down the Black man, but rather social habits, which are imperfect when it comes to society, and so society doesn't want to deal with them based on those social habits, then it would be the case that right now I'm simply being punished for the bad social habits of other people, and you're disproportionately taking wealth from me to give it to those people, which would confine Andrew, with your idea. Stop, bro. Let me make the argument.
Let's hear the argument.
Leia, that's fair. A sticker of the Darwin Tater. So those of you that don't know, on my Discord, I have a little Darwin formed tater, and it says Darwinism above him instead of the per capita. So maybe we need to make a tyranny. Werewolf. I don't know if anyone's noticed, but Austin has gone through about 7 different accents during this debate. It's actually a good point. I didn't pay attention to that, but now that you pointed out, I can see that. People think they're good at debating, but end up talking past their opposition because they aren't able to grasp the simplest concept about debate. Understanding the position of each other. And that's exactly it, Cleaner. Again, reason I'm trying to get back into the dialectical debate style and get back into the understanding each other so that we can move the conversations forward and get to an actual answer. Thinking about the problem only gives you something to do, like a rocking chair. All you do is just rock back and forth. All you do is go around in circles when you're thinking about the problem. You need to think about the solution. Otherwise, you don't get anywhere. His idea of justice is the erasure of Western kind. Then what? There is no Western civilization without Western kind. Then he's back in Africa or the like of a worse third world country. Only through wisdom or only through understanding do we gain wisdom. Very well put. Craig, if total white erasure happened, then slavery comes back by automatic default. Thank you very much for that input as well. Fully agree. Only through understanding do we gain wisdom again. Cleaner, appreciate that. It's definitely an important point, so it's all right to reiterate it. Scott, appreciate the engagement. At least my reparations claim is tied to people who are alive today in general. There's no slaves alive here today. Well put. Craig says, by the true dialect meaning of racist, it is systematic that not harm white people or even let us live for what matters. It was created by Western kind for Western kind. Oh man, I think I might have just accidentally exposed that Austin had perplexly right his opening statement before pivotal arguments. That's probably true too. Hey, Abe Dinkus, good to see you, Mr. President. Appreciate the engagement, my friend. Happy Father's Day, everybody. Happy Father's Day.
You won't even respond to the argument because you won't even let me say it. So again, your argument of justice, right? Justice requires restitution. That's your exact premise, okay? And then when we talk about what that is, what is justice, it's giving what is due. So here's what is due. What is due if it's the case that it's not systemic racism or biases which are causing blacks to have this situation in modernity, but rather bad social habits, which you agree to, then it would have to be the case necessarily that they're disproportionately taking from me, which means I'm due some justice. I'm due justice, bro.
The bad social habits that black people have more directly impact us race internally than they impact white Americans. So what are black people taking from white America, Andrew?
They're disproportionately taking money from the taxpayer in order to give it to their social group.
What are you talking about?
But they are
black people pay taxes the same as white Americans. So what you're saying doesn't make any sense.
They're receiving disproportionately. They're receiving disproportionately. So give me what is due, because that is what's just.
That's not what's just.
I literally just here's what's true.
Single stupidest thing.
Black Americans participate in means-tested welfare programs.
Andrew, wait a minute.
Stamps.
Let him make.
You'll read my thing for me if I open up the panel and tell me what you think. What am I'll open up the panel. I'm trying to get through this. I think I'm pretty close to being at the end of it. Like I said, the fact that they can't grasp per capita, I don't understand it. Like, I make fun of it, right? The per capita with my potato and stuff, it's magic to them. But seriously, though, how is this concept so hard to understand? Vosh Schmidt, I want reparations for all the women's that used taxpayer grants to get useless liberal arts degrees. Yeah, I do too. Let alone the, I don't think that it actually happened, but did Biden actually relieve debt like he said he was going to, which would then come out of taxpayer money, relieve college loan debt? That what I mean. So that would it would come out of taxpayers' money. So yeah,
the argument.
Medicaid, everything at disproportional rates in comparison to white people. White people are also paying more into those systems than black people are. It's disproportional that way as well. Therefore, if it's the case that we're following your code of justice, which is to give what is due, right, and justice demands reparations, then
you're forgetting the first premise of that argument.
Stop, bro. Then black people would have to correct this injustice by giving to whites what is their due.
Andrew, you can't use premise 2 of my argument while neglecting premise 1, which is in this case, did black Americans cause any lasting economic harm for 200 plus years to white Americans?
Well, no. But,
right. Okay, then. So what you're saying, it doesn't make any sense.
Well, why would it matter if it was 30 years? Why would it matter if it was 200 or
Jesse
30
Peterson
years?
Cracks me up.
Andrew,
he's such a
you
troll.
already answered the question. That follow-up does nothing.
Why would it matter if it was 200 or 30 years?
Even if we confine it, even if we go back and confine it to the era of Jim Crow, did black Americans create any legal barrier for full economic participation for white Americans at any point in American history?
Yes.
What legal barrier did black Americans create that prevented white Americans
from receiving disproportionate benefits?
That is not a legal barrier that was created. Let me restate the question, because you might have missed it.
Mm-hmm.
For real,
Bandit. I'm talking about the idea of
black
justice.
Americans. What legal barrier did Black Americans
That has
create
no
for
bearing
white
on the argument.
It has a lot of bearing on the argument.
No, it
because
doesn't.
My
If
initial
we-
premise was
if
that the
we
U.S.
look-
government caused lasting economic harm to Black
Correct.
Americans.
So if
it
you're-
does have a legal
so if
bearing,
we're talking
on it, which
about-
you choose to try to conveniently ignore, but I won't allow you to do it.
Okay, great. Am I allowed to respond now or no? Okay, great.
No, please.
So,
I'm waiting for it actually.
great. So when we're looking at premise one, USA caused measurable harm. Now you say that means government-backed policy, which was discriminatory towards.
Yeah, chaos theory. That's actually one of the questions that I intend to pose to the open panel. Not that we can answer that for the other race, but that's basically what I'm kind of curious. What reparations do they think they haven't received yet? Because according to the Crowder episode that I covered when I was first starting out, one of the Black members in that barbershop said that he wanted like 15 million or something like that for his daughters, for both of his daughters, like a piece or something like that. So what would settle this, assuming that we could? I'm really curious on that. Now, again, not that we will probably get anybody of the Black culture in our panel this afternoon, but who knows? If Darkside Deaconess and AVG happen across, maybe Uncle Tom will come and we can ask him. Cleaner says, not every person that has the level of conscious thought that allows for understanding concepts. We all have limits, and if we acknowledge this, we can know our own utility and where to apply it for our side. Very well put. Leah Bobea says, what slave owner is still alive? And what slave? Does he want the government to be responsible? And if so, where will they get their money? Because their budget is made up of our money. Come on down. And the price is right or something like that, right? I actually did a panel with my Black friends about this a few weeks ago. As per usual, I was the token white girl. And as per usual, I made 2 Black women leave because I'm so conservative. Scott, well, the Democratic Party is what fought for slavery from pre-Civil War to now, right? But yet the conservatives want to keep slavery around, right? Cleaner 409. This argument from Austin is not about reparations. It is about punishment. He does not understand that simple part of his own argument, which is why Andrew keeps honing in on it. Very, very true.
Black people. How do I know? Because I wrote it down to make sure that we had it clear. If that's the case, then all we have to do for the USA to cause measurable harm to white people is say that the government has backed policy, which was discriminatory towards white people. If it's the case that they're taking more from white people to disproportionately compensate Black people, I consider that said policy discriminatory. And then under your views of justice, which require restitution, and justice is giving what is due, it would now be Black priority to give reparations to white people to correct this injustice by your own logic, sir.
No, it would not be.
Yes, it would. I just walked you through your own logical syllogism.
What you're saying, this is just fucking hilarious. The reason that Black people even have a conversation around reparations the reparations conversation would not exist if the U.S. federal government had not committed acts of measurable economic harm to Black Americans. Let's start with that. Especially if we confine it, because at the start of this debate, I said, well, I wouldn't even address slavery because of the length of time that has elapsed. Black Americans did not dominate.
Okay, so that's another thing I wanted to bring up was he says, I wasn't even going to bring in slaves or something like that. And 90% of his debate was heavily weighing on the fact that they were slaves. So if you're going to say that you're going to stay away from something in a debate, stay away from that in the debate. If you're not going to stay away from it in the debate, just don't say that you're going to, right? It's that easy. But with that being said, I think we'll probably go ahead and open up the panel now if there's anybody that wants to jump in. I haven't seen anybody jump in the panel yet. Like I said, I don't have anybody that I've seen as a mod that can do this for me today to vet the people coming up to the panel. So if you want to join the panel, you're going to join the Discord and you're going to go to the Tater Talks vetting room. That should be the only channel that you have access to as a brand new member to the Discord. And if you do get into the Discord and you feel left out, just level up. You'll get access to the full Discord. But I'm going to open up the panel, just waiting for anybody to jump into the vetting room, and I'll start talking with them about the subject at hand. See, Leia says, yes, Chaos, same. The amount of BS I've had to swallow so I could speak the truth would choke most people. Yeah, unfortunately. His jaw clenched when Andrew was talking. Yeah, he was so mad. He was so emotional. And this is, again, like, women want us to be more in touch with our emotion and shit. And then we have men like this that can't hold their emotions at all whatsoever. And then I get hate because I do something that isn't completely manly or whatever the case is, right? And I get hated on because, well, I don't control my emotions, when in fact, I'm controlling my emotions better than most of these men debaters are. I'm a man, so of course I'm going to be in control of my emotions like I should be, but still. Thinking like that demands people stop thinking at level 3, self, and elevate to level 4. Other people have self too. Simple concept, you would think. He's never seen a cotton plant. He's, well, right, exactly. He's never had to deal with the picking of the cotton. He's never seen the plant. He doesn't know what he's debating about for what. And yet he thinks he deserves reparations or whatever. I believe once they get reparations, they can claim they should get an annual check because they're still a blat. That's exactly what I think too, Scott. You give a mouse a crumb and they're going to want a cookie. You give a mouse a cookie and they're going to want a glass of milk. Craig says, I'm running to the store. I will see if I'm able to do the panel, trying to finish stuff around the house too. That's fair. It is Father's Day, so I was actually kind of surprised to get as many votes for the after panel as I did. I wanted to open it up probably about an hour ago. I thought I was further into the debate when I started it than I was. But it is Father's Day, so if we don't want to do a panel, that is okay. Like, if we don't want to do a long panel or anything like that, that's all right too. But yeah, Leo Bobe, probably just the Tater Talks vetting room for anybody that wants to join, because I haven't seen any of the mods in the chat, and I think they're just busy with Father's Day stuff, and I want to let them have that freedom. So if you do join the panel, I would like you to understand that if you say anything that I think is going to be against TOS, if you say anything that I think is going to be a threat or something along those lines, I will kick you almost immediately. I have no doubt that the people in the chat now are going to be legitimate if they do come onto the panel, but I'm being very clear on that because I will not risk my channel for some stupid person, right? But again, I don't think anybody in the chat is going to be a problem for me. Leia's going to join the panel, it looks like. So I'll give you 2 minutes. Oh, appreciate it. Again, if anybody wants to join the panel, you are welcome to join. But we'll go ahead and continue on with this until we get some people in the panel. I am keeping an eye on my Discord on my phone. While we've got a minute of downtime, I guess, I know there's only 15 of you in the chat, but I would like to go ahead and ask for any kind of donation that you may have available. I think I've given the shout out to Kyle for the last donation and Vosh Schmidt for those donations that I've had in the previous time. Looks like I have a couple of other ones that I didn't notice until just now. Let's see, Luke. Not sure who that is. That was on Tuesday. So Tuesday, that would be just a random donation. So can't tell you guys how much I appreciate that. Anything that I get, I will shout out as much as I can, and I appreciate everything that I can get from you guys.
Socioeconomic and
political. Oh, are you gonna jump on, Bandit? Right on. Thank you very much, Scott. Please like, subscribe, and share. Ring that notification bell and change your chat to live chat if you haven't yet so that you can see all the chat. And then it looks like we have 1 or 2 people in the vetting room. So we'll be going over there here shortly. And again, if anybody wants to join, feel free to join my Discord. It is in the link. The link is in the description below if you're not part of the Discord yet. And then right as you jump in, there's a Tater Talks vetting room that you'll be joining for the panel will be taking place on. All right, let's see. Let me get over there into that panel room here. Hey, Cleaner, how are you? Hello? All right. Just say something when you come back, Cleaner. I should be able to hear you. All right, so we'll just view this for a little bit
for the same length of time that white Americans did, especially if we're just confining it to the past 60 years, or the Jim Crow era, excuse me. And so,
I think I saw you come off of mute.
Are you able to hear me right now?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Maybe that was weird. Was there that much of a delay? Is that what it was?
Yeah, there's a pretty significant delay between the two. Let me try restarting my Discord. It may be on my end.
Okay, try it. Welcome in, Bandit. Try talking for me. Damn, there might be a delay for you too. What the fuck? I just restarted my Discord like the other day. Let me try restarting my Discord as well. If you can hear me, Bandit, give me just a minute. Oh, gotta love technology. They say it's great stuff.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Let's see if I can get back into Discord. There's even still a delay. I'm not sure. Let me find my there it is. All right. Go ahead and talk again.
Test.
Check 1, 2.
Okay.
Oh, sorry.
You're all right. Go ahead, Cleaner.
Test.
Okay, thank you. And Leia, welcome in. Go ahead and test your equipment real quick for me, please.
Testy.
Testes. 1, 2,
Sorry,
3. What the fuck? I'm just kidding. Anyway.
Yeah, sorry.
You're all right. Okay, so
did you say tyranny?
What did you say? 3? Welcome in, guys. Appreciate the engagement. And so I might try to start doing a little bit differently with my panels so that they don't get quite so hectic. I might do like a round table kind of idea to start the discussions out, and then we kind of go back and forth and open up the table or whatever. But we'll start with Cleaner, since you were the first one in, and we'll go to Bandit and then Leia. What are your thoughts on this particular topic?
Started roboting.
Okay, I was wondering if it was just me.
Of course. Am I still roboting?
A little bit.
Yeah, a little.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me. So I started to restart my Discord, but I didn't actually restart my Discord, and my internet is fucking dog shit. Holy shit! I'm getting 0.5
Still
down
roboting.
speed. Yeah. Hold on. I'll be right back, guys. Wow, this is crazy, guys. Like I said, my internet, I have less than, holy shit. Okay, so I have Starlink where I typically get over 100 megs down and about 10 to 20 up speed. And I'm getting 0.2 down and 0.99 up. So it's not surprising that I'm trying to run so many different applications that I'm getting the problem on the one application. So yeah, I wasn't roboting on YouTube because OBS was running fine. It was the fact that my Discord is having problems. Let's see. It looks like the roboting is in Discord. Yeah. So let me see if I can restart Discord now. See if it'll work this time, hopefully. Goodness gracious. I knew the internet was going to give me problems when I saw that it was having, it's like, can you move to a better spot? I'm like, no, I can't move to a better spot. Oh, of course I showed everybody my private DMs. Let's see. It's not what I wanted to do either. Where am I going, guys?
Yeah, when we had that, it was one of those things I was like,
And I'm just waiting for them to get to a spot I can interrupt is all. And then and I'm back. Can you hear me all right now? You're all right. Okay, I'm good. Okay. All right, I'll unmute you guys now. I had you muted, so if you guys,
good. I'm sitting here like, oh my gosh.
Yeah. I came in and you guys were talking, so I muted you on the YouTube side. All right, so
that works.
Appreciate the patience there, guys.
Okay, he unmuted us and then he went back to roboting.
Are you serious? Is that what happened?
When he was unmuted.
But you can. Yeah, am I okay now? Am I still roboting?
It's back to being as bad as it was. If he.
What about now? Is it still roboting really bad? I closed it out and restarted it. I don't know if there's a specific way to. It's getting better.
It's not 100%, but it's getting better.
So I had
Discord is real heavy on the upload rate.
Oh, that would explain a decent amount. That actually then.
Yeah.
All right. You're a whole lot better right now.
Okay. Hopefully
I had to upgrade my connection to fiber to be able to handle having conversations on Discord while streaming.
Oh, I've never had any problems. I've never had any problems until just the last couple of months, and I've had Starlink the entire time since I started streaming. I've had Starlink, and I didn't have any problems when I first started streaming. It might have been when I started with Discord, now that you mentioned that, but I didn't think so. Anyway, so you can understand me all right now, though.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, because I'm not having any issues on YouTube side. They keep saying I'm not roboting on a YouTube side, but I want to make sure that you guys can hear me and understand me well too. Okay, so getting back to
that makes me think that it's Discord and not like your connection, because it would be roboting on YouTube if it. Well, I don't know, maybe not.
Well, and it's possible.
If connection gets a priority.
Right, exactly. That's what I'm thinking. Is I've basically prioritized OBS over Discord or whatever, whether I realized it or not. And then Chaos Theory says you got to boost the Discord too, and that could be part of it too.
Yeah. Discord's gone away from just being a chat application and voice chat application. It's got all this other crap in it now that kind of clutters it up.
Yeah.
But doesn't boosting, that's more of like if you got like a dozen people in here, I mean, a 4-person call on Discord shouldn't get bogged down because you're not.
Thank you, Scott. Appreciate that
extra money.
So, when you boost the server, when you reach level 3, I'm pretty sure is when it hits, but you get the best bit rate out of your voice channels. So regardless of how many people you have in there, the bit rate is better. So you're going to have cleaner, better sound quality if you hit that all those boosts on the Discord.
So they just want money.
Pretty much. Yeah, they're trying to get it there. So it's like, and as much as I hate to use the name, Aaron was telling me they don't have any kind of actual income other than the boosts. So they have to kind of make some kind of money or income some way. So they promote the boosts. And in order to promote the boosts, they've got to make it so that you want the boosts.
But no, hold on. No, they do make money because, so the background of you, I don't know what it is. I know you got
the
like
store.
The little spikes.
It's a store. It's a store where you buy like all the skins and stuff. Yep.
Yeah.
In every time a Discord calls ends, there's always the ad for friggin' was it Scream 7 that came out like 6 months ago?
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Like there is
premiums.
There are ads on Discord. I mean, it's not our fault. Whoever is doing the ads for them is shit at their job.
That's a fair point.
Well, and plus, just a quick point is that it's also about they want the servers to be active. If you've got a lot of servers that are just sitting there and nobody's engaging in them, they're just basically taking up space.
Yeah.
And that it's not just like space out in the ether. It's space that is taking up a farm, like these AI farms we keep talking about. It's taking up a server over there for no reason, and they have to pay for that. So
correct. Just like I was talking about earlier, how we need to be cleaning out like ChatGPT, right? People will just, and I'm guilty of this stuff too. My computer, I don't clean it out. You just build all this data that just it's stagnant data. We don't need it, but we hold on to it because we're all a bunch of hoarders, essentially. It's that kind of concept, right? If you have a bunch of these inactive servers, like a lot of the servers that I'm part of, in fact, are inactive servers, essentially, where they use them for a storage spot, right? They've basically created the Discord for storage, and they just bring people into it to make it feel like they're worthless or whatever kind of idea. And that's facetious. I'm not calling anybody worthless, of course, but you get what I'm saying, right? So they want to promote. Go ahead, Bandit.
Well, I'm just trying to bring it back to the topic that we were talking about when we were all saying we were going to come on about the guy that says he's owed reparations.
Sure, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like, all right, I put it in the chat. He's never seen a cotton plant, much less picked one. And y'all can call me racist if you want to, but that's truth. And he wants money to live off the government, not have a job.
Yep.
And meanwhile, everyone in here, well, cleaner's retired, so we'll put an asterisk next to that. No shade thrown.
Right.
But
I make lots of shade. Throw it all you want. I don't care.
Well, no. To clarify, no shade intended. But you got a bunch of people out there that want to. They want a free ride. They just want to sit at home. I think it started with friggin' COVID. There was a bunch of people that realized they could just sit on their tail, and the government would pay them to sit on their tail.
Right.
And then when that dried up, they're like, well, why can't I continue getting paid? What do I need to do to continue getting paid?
Right.
I would argue it was a problem pre-COVID, but it definitely got worse when people figured out they could exploit.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Just to be clear, I'm not saying it started with COVID. I'm saying when COVID came around, it got a whole hell of a lot worse.
Yeah, I could definitely agree with that.
But I think
it's so crazy.
root that goes beyond that, though. Even I think there is a baseline root, because so in troubleshooting machines, you always look for the last known source of power, the last spot where you had something working correctly. And here, that's kind of what we would do the same thing if we're trying to figure out what the problems are, right? Like, we'd go back to where we first started seeing the problem. Well, that was like what? 60s, 70s, 80s, things started getting a little different. They started changing how they were teaching children to interact with the world. They were teaching children up to the self portion, where children understand they have emotions and other people do things to affect their emotions. But they don't teach people to understand that other people actually have real feelings and emotions as well. They teach them the talking points and the things to say, the buzzwords and whatnot, but they don't actually teach them the concept. And the concept is the thing that so many people miss nowadays. Understanding the concept, not just a relational story about how that concept applies, but understanding the concept itself, the simple ones, the easy ones.
They took the whole idea of treat others the way you want to be treated, and then they turned it to claim that others are treating you the way that they wouldn't want to be treated.
Sure. I would agree with that. I would say in some places they even took it to the extreme. Don't teach others. Don't teach kids to treat others the way you want them to treat you, because that means you have to teach them a level 4 mindset.
Yeah.
Well, teach them the place that is easier to control, which is what affects them and only them. That's what they've done. They've taught them to instead of teaching them to put themselves in other people's shoes and truly understand their side of an argument, their side of a debate, their side of what's going on in life, even in a simple conversation, a hug even, understanding whether or not the other person would appreciate that. Like, they don't teach you to do that. They teach the kids, you are the center of things. The rest of the world needs to conform to you.
And I agree with that 100%. And the one thing, when you said that, it clicked for me, because the boomers, and myself included, I'm not a boomer. Hear that, chat? I'm only 30 something. I'm not a fucking old fart. But anyway,
fair.
No, I'm older than him by far. I'm an old fart.
But
me too.
We all just wrote it off as the kids were not being told no. And what it is they're not only they just being told yes, but they're being taught to do what they need to do in order to get their way, because when they become adults, they're going to need the people that are teaching that are going to need.
Thank you so much for the engagement, Chaos. Happy Father's Day. Hope to see you again.
There's
today. I know I'll see you, but today
protests. they've got a legion of useful idiots that are going to take it upon themselves to argue. Oh, not even argue, but just to stand up against it, even though they don't know what they're standing up against.
Sure. They utilize the bandwagon technique quite a bit. And you see this with shows like where they show the sisterhood and how the sisterhood behaves, right? Like the bandwagon thing has been going on for a very long time.
But my main point on that was it was something that clicked on. We all just wrote it off as the kids are not being told no. And no, it's not just that they're not being told no. It's that they're being encouraged in that behavior because they need them to go out and continue that behavior because it's going to benefit them in political matters.
It gives them more of a voice when people who don't actually understand the concept just get behind it because they're emotionally charged by a buzzword. I get what you mean. And that's a level of brainwashing that's gone into our social media and our books and everything we've got.
Intentionally.
Oh, yes, intentionally. You can't. This is so ridiculous, too. People are like, well, how is it intentional? Well, you wrote the book, didn't you? If you didn't write the book, then you wouldn't have done something like, you know?
I completely agree. And to come to the defense of parents, kind of, in some way, it's also really difficult, especially with more than one, especially if they're close in age, to kind of teach kids to critically think. I feel like everything from the electronics and the games and the tablets and the apps that are engineered toward younger and younger kids and engineered specifically to be addictive. Like, we know that's the fact at this point. It's not some conspiracy, right? And the way that they teach things in school, even. I remember my teachers, even, you know, when and we're just talking a generation ago. I mean, I'm 33, you know, I'm not 80. And they would teach us to question things to an extent. I mean, you know, once again, schools really were never designed to do that. But back then it was a lot different. They wanted us to be curious. They wanted us to ask questions. And even if you end up questioning their authority in your quest to, you know, question, then at least you're questioning the things around you. Whereas now it's like grades and the scores on whatever standardized test they're taking is all that they really care about. And, you know, it doesn't
they don't even care about that.
Translate.
Because no kids left behind now.
Well, oh Lord, yeah. So the parents take on all the brunt of that. And it's not, you know, I'm sure a lot of us in here are parents and watching. Maybe a lot are not as well, but if you're not, let me just say no, it is not easy to teach a person how to think critically. Like, it's really not the easiest. So you have to really actively try to do that. So, you know, it's like everything's against you as a parent doing that.
Well, I think we're a few degrees beyond where you're saying, because like, all right, you said you're 33. I've got about 4 or 5 years on you, and I remember
you're good, Homestead. I appreciate you.
It was one of those
I know
things
it's Father's Day. I wasn't sure if I was going to stream at all. Really,
we call them SOL, Standards of Learning, and it was one of those things. So, like, the joke was, they're not teaching us to learn; they're teaching us to take the test. And so it's like, in some degrees, there, like, you had that one teacher that would get you to question authority, that kind of thing. But in the grand scheme of things, they were just doing a 9 to 5. Like, all right, it's Tuesday on this week. We need to learn. I need to teach the kids that on this day in 1970 something, this guy did this thing, you know, this history aspect or this math concept, what have you. You know, it broke down where there wasn't the whole, like, teaching kids to think. It was teaching them what to think.
Right. Giving them the answer, teaching them to answer with the right answer, not to question what the question is so they can learn how to answer it. Right.
Yeah.
Well, and this is why I give I give parents a lot of grace room on this, because in society, we build a tool to do a function to make our lives easier. We came up with socialized school systems so that we could make our lives a little easier and work a little more and bring home a little more money. We depended upon a tool that we made in the system that is being misused.
Well, all right. So going with the one I use, the standards of learning, it in concept is a good thing. It's like, all right, the kids need to learn X, Y, and Z. Make sure that they learn X, Y, and Z. But the problem was, in practice, all they taught was X, Y, and Z, not like how to fully comprehend, like, what if it's
it's a
history thing, It's more about like, all right, this guy did this thing on this date versus why this person did this thing at this time because of the political climate, or if it's a math aspect, you need to know how to do this equation, not why this equation works the way that it does. Like you can, I mean, four function math is one thing, but then when you go to like trigonometry, you need to know like, all right, because certain things at a lower level work the way they do, that you can apply those into a geometric world, and you can make assumptions that actually work versus just memorize this formula, and then when you have a problem that comes up that you won't experience in the actual world, you'll come up with that problem, but your boss isn't going to say, hey, tell me what the a squared plus b squared equals c squared. No, you're going to have like, hey, I need you to build something that fits this area. And you need to apply that formula to do the job. But they're just teaching you the formula and not telling you why that formula is important.
Thank you, Homestead.
And so you
understand why this is, though?
Do
you understand why they did this?
Yeah, because they just want to churn out. They just want to get people through the system.
Yes, they want passing grades is the thing. And so what they started doing was teaching people relationally instead of conceptually. If you teach someone how to use a wrench and what its function is, what it can do, and then hand them the wrench, they can go and find 1 billion bolts to put that wrench on. But if you just tell someone this wrench is for that bolt, and they go straight to that bolt, they don't understand the other 7,999,000,000 bolts it could go to. They just know that wrench goes to that bolt. That's basically what they're doing, is like, this is here to the answer.
Yes.
That's it. And what we have to do is get back to conceptual understandings, because that's where conversations start to happen. That's where understanding starts to happen. That's the relational is just people socializing and bullshit. It doesn't really help unless you have to use an analogy or a relational story like that in order to explain a concept to someone. But that's in the service of teaching the concept. That's not in the service of teaching the relational story. And so they're doing it backwards. And they're doing this because what they found was that girls would respond to relational stories because women typically think relationally more than factually and foundationally, right? Men typically think foundationally. Well, they wanted to get the boys' grades to come up in schools. And so they started trying to teach them concepts, and they saw, oh, okay, well, when we're teaching them concepts, we can use this metaphor and the little boys understand now. So instead of teaching the concept, they swapped it out for the metaphor because that's the status quo for girls. It works, and some of the boys understand it. So let's do it to all of them rather than let them get their energy out and come back in when they're wore out and they're ready to listen, right? Like, boys and girls learn differently. Without us understanding that baseline level, does it surprise anyone that women hate men and men hate women right now?
Hey. Don't
lump not
me
hate,
in that.
But there's so much discourse. You know what I mean?
I know. Unfortunately, I know exactly what you're talking about.
And thank you, Cleaner, for putting it more succinctly than I did.
I've given it a lot of thought, and I tried to understand the concepts that people are talking about. This is the point I was making earlier with Tater about debates. A lot of our guys don't know how to do debates right because they're just using an argument or two that sound good. They're using an analogy. but they're not approaching the concept the other person is talking about. When you listen to someone else's concept, you're actually to see, like, you can see if they have a brick missing in their wall, or a strut missing where they should have a strut, or an I-beam for the foundation to support everything else. You know, like, you can find that then. But if you don't understand their concept, then you can't figure out what it is they're saying and know whether it's logical or not.
Yep.
I feel like we're going a little too close to a hot topic that's been discussed the last couple of weeks.
Oh, I'm not talking about any specific topic. This has been plaguing the debate sphere for a good long while.
Yeah.
I think Andrew gives a good explanation and a good performative understanding of getting to the concepts that people are talking about. But I think that a lot of people weren't taught to listen to the concept. They were taught to listen to the analogy or the metaphor instead. And so a lot of people grasp that metaphor and try to use that metaphor as an attack or something to get a win. And the thing is, when you're understanding concepts, it's not a win versus lose until you get to the end of understanding the concept and you can figure out whether it's logical or not. The first step is always understanding what the other person is saying.
I think when there's an issue with understanding the concept, there's a lot of on both sides of where jump to the conclusion of give me a second. I need to clarify my thought on that.
Yeah, I think we can do a better, much, much better than what we're currently doing. But I think people need support of other people who understand the concepts so that we can explain the concept itself to each other.
I agree with that one.
Yeah. Just where I was trying to go with it is on both sides, too many people jump to the conclusion, and there's a lot of name calling that shouldn't be.
We shouldn't even really be resorting to name calling. If you can't understand someone's concept, how can you call them stupid?
Right. Yeah, that's the thing is, like I was saying earlier, if you don't understand it well enough to explain it to someone that they can understand it, do you even really know your own position? And goes further into like what you just said.
Yeah.
Agree 100%. And I think that's why we're having so many of these debates where people aren't able to quickly and easily communicate their concept.
Yep.
Because they've fallen prey to metaphorizing and analogizing everything that happens in life. And that's just not how people actually need things done. Like, we need to understand the basic facts. Otherwise, we get off in the loo on all kinds of craziness.
Mm-hmm.
And putting labels on people that don't deserve the label that is put on them.
That's true too.
Yeah. I get the labeling, but I get it only because we've been programmed in the boxeology type mentalities, right? The stereotype mentalities where, like, if you have a certain name, you fall into this box. If you are a certain height or whatever, you fall into this box. If you're a certain mentality, you fall into this box. And people performatively accept those boxes and become them.
Well, that's why the whole, like, hashtag not all still has some value, because that people will still group people en masse when they're not, it's not applicable. Hey, Ava Rice.
Welcome in, Avarice. How are you?
Hi. I just
Avarice
thought I'd
is one of the guys that understands the
conversation.
concept. Oh, sorry, I talked over you, bro.
No, go ahead. No, go ahead. You were talking. I jumped in while you were going, so continue.
No, I was going to say, Avarice is one of the guys that actually tries to understand concepts. I like having conversations with him. I've only had 2 so far, but I've really enjoyed both.
Really? I thought one of ours was, if I'm not mistaken, wasn't one on Confluences? I mean, you were pretty
we were
aggressive at each other, if I'm not mistaken.
But I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it because
that's all that matters.
Concepts.
Well, I mean, that gives me a little bit of a wonderful feeling here that we can yell at each other and you don't take it at heart. I'm actually giving you bonus points for that right now. Most people take it to heart. Most people like oh, Average just yells and we can't have a good conversation because of this one time. Like, you know,
yeah,
right.
No, I take it as
a little bit happy-go-lucky. You're a little bit happy-go-lucky, so I figure anyone that takes what you have to say to heart is a curmudgeon, for lack of a better term.
Well, there's I think just like this morning, I got fucking like banned like multiple times from First Amenders stream, and here's the thing: I wasn't even doing anything off the get-go. They were like, "You need to stop using caps." I always use caps. What are you talking? I'm always in caps. What do you mean stop? What kind of sensitivity training is this if you're offended because I have the caps lock on while I'm typing in chat? If that's the kind of offense you're getting at, first off, that's just wild. Okay. Secondly,
sorry.
No, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, you got to remember, this is the same crowd that one half of them,
Dave, right?
They want to do snaps instead of claps, but the other half thinks snaps is an offense to their oratory sensibilities.
Yeah, and then secondly, they muted me, right? And then a buddy of mine, Goon, went on there, right, and said something. Then they booted Goon and called that my alt account, right? And then said I was evading the mute, right? And then so Goon then calls it in instead of apologizing to me saying that I was evading the mute, right? Which was what they were doing.
As you should, Werewolf.
Bad, right? They apologized for Goon for banning him. I'm like, no, you apologize to me, motherfuckers. You're the one that said I was fucking curtailing. And they're like, no, you're just wrong. Like, what? You literally said I was avoiding the mute, and I wasn't. You can't say I'm avoiding the mute while I'm muted and go, huh? You see, he's not saying anything. I'm muted. I can't say shit.
Everest, you're wrong. Kevin Bacon was
crazy.
not in Footloose.
Now, I'll come back into where I was going, because I was actually going to go against Cleaner here. So let's get back into where we were. So now I've got the intro out of the way. I think we ought to label everybody. To the extent of what you believe or what you deem things that ought to be labeled. I'm not sitting here saying that I'm gonna label everybody that plays soccer, right? I get that there are fallacious labeling and how we do that, but I'm gonna stereotype everybody for my environment. Every stereotype, every label, I'm going to put in and judge.
Hey, Beatrix,
until someone
good
gives
to see
me
you. Appreciate the engagement. Happy Father's Day.
Until someone gives me the illusion that
Hope
they
you're
are
doing well.
no longer needing to be judged.
Well, I think if you're going to go at it in that way, you're going to have to be coming up with a lot of labels for 8 billion people. It's almost like you're trying to come up with like a system where we have like names. Like 3 names, like a first, middle, and last name, kind of.
No, you see, you're just making it too big, right? You're
the
like
name
trying to,
that shall not be named.
Go down to we need a stereotype for everything. But if I just generally stereotype, whether based off people's color, race, hair type, tall, how big they are, these are things that that generally I ought to be doing. Like if the guy is 5 times my size, that is something I ought to be wary of.
Well, sure. I don't disagree. And I think we all do that naturally through judgment calls in our brain. I don't think we always apply quote unquote labels like what they've got nowadays, where they've got these stereotypical boxes for people and those are all labels. But I don't necessarily disagree with what you're saying now that I understand it a little better.
Yeah, this is what I'm trying to say. There are some labels. I think, there are people that over label for sure. But what the statement that was made is that we shouldn't be doing any. And I'm not trying. Maybe you're going to change here, or maybe not. The statement that was made though is that we should not just do any of it.
Remember
right?
that or not?
Unless there's like very specific
if I've ever heard of
occasion. I'm saying no. You should be stereotyping at all times. and labeling at all times.
Right. I get what you mean. The difference between the conceptual understanding and the performative. And the performative sucks because, yeah, we do have people that are in certain stereotypes that it's like, no, they're definitely that stereotype. Walk the other way. You know, I understand that, yeah.
Correct. So, like, for an example, I'm not trying to be racist here by any means, but if I am going to be more wary around it being in a black community as a white Alaskan than I would if I was in Alaskan community where everybody's speaking Aleut, right? It's just something that, right? And the whole thing is because first off, you don't understand culture or customs. So let's just start with that, right? If you don't understand anybody's culture or customs, right, then you already should be stereotyping and labeling how those culture and customs work against yours, so that you know how to walk the line.
Oh, I don't disagree with you, but I do also think that there are certain things that, like, whenever we get into what a culture or a custom is that someone's
okay,
come to,
thank you for that.
They're going to have to
Beatrix.
understand that they've appropriated a certain amount of other cultures and be okay with that, because that's something we all do. We take the best of what we see, try to put it together into our own stuff, you know, generally.
Maybe generally speaking, that's what people do, right? But I think that's where the waters get muddy, right? I think that's what we're doing.
I agree
in the loss of patriarchy. Right, because when it was men controlling the house with an absolute fist, like I do today, those don't apply.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
I agree with you, though, with what you're saying, because that brings me to where I was going with this, which ties us right back into the conversation at hand that Tater had pulled up. This whole appropriations thing, all right? They've appropriated a certain amount of our culture. They want reparations because they're still here. And I understand where they're coming from as far as some of it. But the part they're missing is the reparations are already done.
Yeah, see, I don't understand where they're coming from.
Their appropriation of our culture, what I'm saying is their appropriation of our culture is only as long as it is self-beneficial, which is generally how people normally do stuff.
Also, I think you're conflating immigrants with melanated Americans that have been here since at least since the Civil War.
And let's just go. I want to take this to another perspective too. What price is there for salvation?
I can go down that, but before we do, what Bandit just said spoke to the point I was making, right? They don't understand they're appropriating all of our culture, and they've already gotten payment. They've already gotten their reparations because we have social structures in place. We have all of this stuff to make sure that they have a leg up. We've done the whole thing performatively, and they're not taking advantage of it in the way that helps them elevate themselves. So it's not about elevation, it's about gimme.
So I agree that it's about gimme, because here's the question is I don't think that reparations is actually something that should be given to anything or anybody, right? Unless you have a transactional thing. Like in Alaska, they transactionally give I wouldn't say reparations, they give you a check for the oil that they are pulling, right? So we take oil, you get money, right? And that's still happening today, right? In that same regard, right? I don't think, like, in this argument with reparations, and what they mean here is we want justice, right? And what price is justice here? What amount for? I mean, in my regard, or in my thought, I don't think that there is any amount that or any dollar amount that is suitable for forgiveness. I think forgiveness is something that just happens, right?
Sure.
And these people are not doing what one ought to do off the get-go if they're talking about Christian. If they talk about love thy neighbor, which is this, forgive that it happened, right? Okay,
Sure.
there is no price in that. You don't need price for forgiveness. God gave us that for free.
Sure. But the thing is, like, when we come to the whole reparations conversation, as Bandit pointed out, the non-Slavic descendants, I'm trying to be PC here, the non-Slavic descendants versus the Slavic descendants, like, we definitely know there's a huge disparity between the two numbers, but the vast majority of the non.
No, we're just on YouTube.
Sorry, I just want to make sure.
Are
we on Twitch? Do I need to?
No, you're good. We're just on YouTube.
I don't know what TOS is going to say about saying the word, so I'm staying away from it.
I'm just trying to make sure because I have a lot of allegations that I go in bomb channels, and I really don't. Tater can tell you that.
Yeah, he does.
I do. I make sure that if we are in some, I don't usually assume Twitch is in our space, but if somebody is running Twitch, I will change my language because I have no intention of ever destroying a site or anybody's live stream, whether it's on the left or the right.
Sure, I get that. But the thing that Bandit pointed out was, and you even pointed this out to some degree also already, that we have a disparity between the actual descendants of those people and the non-descendants, and it's a huge disparity. And the problem is the non-descendants are appropriating the descendants' point of view. The non-descendants appropriate the descendants' point of view and decide that's their point of view too because they want freebies, right? And so this becomes a bigger concept than the 500 to 10,000 people there might actually be that are descendants, right? Like
no, so I think so. Here's what I think. I think it's even crazier. All right. I think it's even more tinfoil hat. All right. I think that one culture sees another culture in America right now getting away with things like Somali daycares and things like that and going, I should have been doing that. Why weren't we gaming this system? And I think now they're acting out because now they're realizing that we're starting to crack down on these things. And now they're playing the victim game that they should have had all the money that these fraudulent things went to.
Well, Avarice, I can explain that because their credit score wasn't high enough to get the building to do the Somali daycare.
Well, that requires work.
No, it doesn't require work. It's just like pimps and hoes here, right? It just has one guy and then tells the women to show up, right? And that's just like pimps and hoes, right? Or gangs. Don't act like they're not coordinated, right? Don't act like like just because they have cells that are uncoordinated. Don't act like there's guys not at the top that don't pull chains. Just like the Somalis, they're all dumb. They are all low IQ. They don't even know what they're doing wrong. That's why they can act so retarded when First Amenders come in and go, what are you doing here? We don't know. We're just doing what this guy tells us to do. Because literally they do what the pimp says. And it's the same thing with the black culture. The only difference is that they did it bad. Instead of they did it through prostitution on the streets instead of daycares where they could have scammed the government. And then now they're going, oh, fuck, we've been doing it wrong this whole time. And now they're acting up even more.
Fair.
Yeah, I do think some of it is the jealousy of other people getting one over on the system, like what you said. I definitely think that's a high motivator. But I think the high motivator that's there is the quick buck. And that mentality is something that's been perpetuated and propagated by social media and propaganda.
You guys are so mean. That's funny.
They don't seem to understand that this quick buck idea isn't the way to make money if you want to have longevity. Like, I mean, you got that concept. You understood a long time ago. Longevity is the key to it, Avarice. That's why you have a whole Rust network going on that you know, like,
well,
it's just simple stuff.
It's one of those things that the quick buck crowd aren't worried about longevity. That's the whole point of the quick buck is they want it now. They're not worried about it extending into the future. They just want, give me, mine, now.
Give me.
So there's no thought given to it into tomorrow. Just to put it flat out.
Right.
Just, what can I get today?
For those of you that watched
I think that's another
Andrew stream the other night, yummy.
I mean, parents can do their part, but the thing with the whole parents teaching versus society teaching, is that when parents are teaching something, kids get away from the parents, and sometimes they lose a little bit of their understanding of I'm held to standards, right? And when they get out in the world, if the world doesn't show them that the world's going to hold them to those standards, they don't understand they're going to get held to them. And so they think they're not, and they think they can just be entitled and get away with anything, and they do much of what we're seeing right now. So I think it's going to come back to us figuring out how to teach people to be people correctly, or a better way, at least. I don't know if there's a correct.
I think that we just, I got another plan. I think we accelerate credit card debt so much it puts them in indentured servitude.
Well, I mean, I would go so far as
raise the debt ceiling so high on that culture that they're literally locked in financial servitude.
What I actually think would solve this thing, the thing that I think would actually solve this whole reparations argument and all that is if they did the work, figured out,
and then when the guy went on to the panel and actually asked it, "Is it yummy?"
The slaves were.
Do you want it in your tummy?
Send them back to the country we took them from.
I ain't giving them a dime.
No, take them back to the country they came from.
Oh,
hold on.
I know, right?
That are appropriating their stuff will be like, "Whoa, shit! We ain't about that. We don't want anything to do with that." I guarantee you.
I was making a joke about they're already doing that, which they are. They've already got a vast majority of the populace captured as indentured servitude to credit score.
Yeah.
But where do you go from that? Where you go from that is
I got it. I got it. You box them up. You box them up and create more prison cells, right?
Yes.
You box them all and then start creating labor camps.
But there's still an uncaptured market. How do you get them? The way you get them is by the ones that are actually productive and actually doing a damn thing.
Well, the productive ones can stay in the system. I'm fine with that.
Huh?
Try to let each other speak.
I'll say the productive one, Bandit. We can let them stay. That's fine. I'm good with the productive ones staying. It's the non-productive ones I want out.
Yes,
for real.
You and I agree. What I'm talking about is the powers that be. They're greedy. They want both the people that are already captured, and they want you and I that aren't in their group. There's a small.
Now you're just talking about capitalism.
In the way that they get us in the same group as the ones that are already captured is they make us pay for it by taxes, by releasing the criminals out onto the streets, making us live with the consequences of their actions until we say enough is enough and say, no, you're going to put the criminals in the jail. You're gonna stop locking up people for stupid shit for longer than, there's a dichotomy in the criminal system where there's plenty of people that are in jail that shouldn't be, and there's damn sure enough plenty people that should be in jail that aren't. And you stop having the people that are actually going to work and working a day's labor, paying for the people that are sitting on their ass at home playing PlayStation.
Whoa. I sit on my ass and play PlayStation.
Well, you've worked.
Right.
Hold on. You've worked to afford to sit on your ass and play PlayStation. I'm not paying for your ass to sit at home and play PlayStation.
Yeah, well, you don't pay me anything. I haven't seen a single Bandit donate in my Cash App, so I don't see Bandit donate. I don't see Bandit donate even for my verbal combat.
Well, now, I'm usually asleep when verbal combat happens,
you guys
because I gotta get up in the morning and work my damn job.
Good to see you, Mrs. D. Thank you very much for the engagement.
There's something.
Thought it would be funny with the topic at hand.
What
that was me.
You said
that was me. Chaos.
I literally went off. Why did I just spaced?
It's all right. I do it. I've done it about a half dozen times tonight.
Yeah. You said that. Oh fuck! Why did I draw a blank? We were talking about. Fuck. Not
we're doing the prison systems and paying for people that
See, there's a simple answer for us. All we have to do, right, is just not break the law and then watch them fucking devolve. We just have to live in the system for a short time.
Well, the
right?
the problem is there's those fringe areas where like you may be in, like, let's say the suburbs, something.
And as always, if you guys don't know Mrs. D, RSTV, Rattlesnake TV, make sure you give them a like and a share and things like that.
The city, but you're close enough that the city has some.
Dude, I'm right in the heart of that. You know that I'm in Fresno.
Yeah, where they'll let the criminals out, but you're within driving distance of where they're letting the criminals out. So it's only it may not be today, may not be tomorrow, but they're coming to. It's gonna be one of those. If you're not locking your doors now, you're soon gonna have to be.
You mean just like people are going to break? Well, listen, that's
no. I'm saying, like, if you're living in the white picket fence,
I've heard those are
American
good.
Dream,
I don't know. I've never had them.
The city's coming for you, where it won't be. Give it 5-10 years, and if you're in the suburbs, you're going to be living in that urban hellhole that you point to across the hill. That urban sprawl is coming for you, whether you like it or not.
Maybe, maybe not. I think that.
Thanks for dropping that, Homestead. Check out Rattlesnake TV, guys.
There is a source when you start cornering enough people and you put them in one spot, then you get that bigger population in that spot. Then the right or whatever those votes are will then vote that area, and then that area will re-expand. Right?
Well, hold on, just to clarify, I'm saying if we don't do anything, it's coming for us.
Well, see, the thing is I don't think we're not doing anything, and I don't think that we've ever not done anything, right? I think that there is a fine line between like what the right believes why I say right, but what Christian nationalists, let's just say that, believe is right and before they act, right? Like there's we as conservatives need substantial evidence before we act, or we need to actually start feeling threatened. And if you really think about it, I'm not threatened by a bunch of Muslims in Dearborn, Michigan. I'm not threatened by a bunch of Muslims in Syria. It might sound like they're invading all over Britain and whatever.
Absolutely, Mrs. D. We appreciate you too. More than we can ever say.
Donkey pull cart will never beat the force of an F-35.
Yep. Well, donkey pull cart can't work because they are actually religiously against technology, so cart wouldn't be invented.
Yeah, so again, this is what I'm trying to say. Donkey pull cart can't beat F-35, right? And I
they know this, and they still take their sticks and swing them at our tanks.
Concerning, Beatrix.
Yeah, and when we actually decide to fire the tanks, then things will actually be changed. I mean, there's no need to really do it. And most people know this. I have a very big no war stance. I believe if you've been to war, you ought not be so quick to go to another. And most people know this about me. I fight the no new war stance as hard as possible in Iran. I get that Iran they're trying to make a world war because they believe the man in the hole is going to come out after 1,200 years or whatever. That still has no bearing to the fear of them actually firing a missile at us. Once they fire a missile in our general direction, then I'll actually start considering it. You know what I mean?
All right. Just real quick on the Iran thing.
I fart in your general direction.
I put Iran in a different basket than the whole grand no new wars thing.
Seriously, Evan Maxed.
Iran has been at war with us since Reagan. We have not been at war with them. So
I know this well. Listen, just so we're clear, I run though Iran war was justified because of the Silkworm missile crisis of 1948. Trust me, it's one of my prompts. I know it well. I'm just saying that if you're gonna send boots on the ground, right? That's what I'm gonna say. Boots on the ground and American men to die. All right. then I want you better be doing it right the first time. And we're not. If we're going to be doing this right, here's the thing we could do. We could just level the whole field and then put boots on the ground, and I would feel a lot better about my troops being on the ground, right? But we don't. We don't do things like that. And so because of that, and because of the way I know we fought in Iraq, it's not going to be the way we fought in World War II, where we just fucking carpet bomb the whole area and then go in. It's go in and then decide to carpet bomb. I don't like that. I don't like sending our men in to then analyze if it ought to be carpet bombed, right? If we're in war, you carpet bomb first, then go in. And until we start doing that, I don't think we should be going to war until we change the doctrine of how we go to war. And we changed it in the Vietnam time. We changed it from carpet bombing to investigating, then carpet bombing. And that I don't like.
Well, yeah, I do agree. There needs to be there definitely needs to be a show of force when an enemy presents itself. And whatever that force is that will get that enemy to de-escalate is what you would typically want. And I'm with you, Evers, whenever you say I don't want war, because I don't either. I've seen what war looks like up close and personal, and I don't want Americans to know what that looks like.
Nasty. It's nasty.
I don't. So I'm with you 100% on that. I think if we can settle this by talking, we should do it. But the other thing that we've also got to understand is, like, we're at a technological point right now where even if another country tried to launch a nuke, we'd knock it out of orbit. Like, we don't really have to worry about
we're also
that.
And I agree with you. We're also at a technologically advanced that we don't even have to declare war. We can just bomb the shit out of them and not call them a country.
Yeah. And that's why I'm saying, like, I don't think we necessarily have to just, like, obliterate someone when they're making something. But I understand why Trump took it the way he did, because that was the outcome he wanted to affect for the world
I can understand, too. I understand. And, again, I'm not, like, saying that it was the bad move or the worst move. It's just not a move I support, right? I'm not going to support sending boots on the ground. Right. It's nothing I'll ever support until I've determined personally under my subjective reasoning that they've invaded our own area. They pull a Pearl Harbor, then let's fucking go.
Don't touch our boats.
Yeah, the first enemy that actually like the first enemy nation that actually like attacks us like that again, it's gonna be nasty.
Yeah, game on. I'm good with that. I'm good with that, right? But again, I ask time and time again, I ask everyone over and over again. I ask, have they attacked American soil? They go, yes. What have they attacked? Oh, they fired a missile over the Strait of Hormuz.
No, they didn't.
Okay, again.
I didn't attack
American soil is in Hormuz.
I get you.
Again, what American soil did they attack? And by American soil, I mean homeland. What part of the homeland did they touch? All right. Where did they touch us? And then I'm good to go, right?
Yeah,
but until you can point to where they touched us and not some military base where military bases
where
are military targets.
Show me on the doll.
I'm okay with this.
Well, right, yeah. Yeah, I understand military versus military makes a lot of sense whenever you're talking about warfare and whatnot, and that's fine. I think the differentiation that a lot of people mess up on is whenever it's like our people that are getting hurt. They have this this weird way of conflating who their people are based on a sentence or two or a paragraph of somebody saying something, and it's like, no, your people are the one that will lay their lives on the line for you. Those are your people. The people who won't lay their lives on the line for you, those aren't your people. Definitionally, they're not your people.
Yeah. And again, and I'll land the no new war, which is I'm not saying that I'm against war. I'm against actively going to war if we have better ways, and I think we have better ways. I don't want to put American boots on the ground, and people don't understand. In order to go to war, boots have to hit the ground. There's no other way.
I agree.
You cannot claim another territory without putting a physical boot on the ground.
Well,
yeah, I think Trump did it the way he did because of timetables being what they are. I don't think he wanted it to be a long game. He wanted the Iran thing to be done quick. I think that's why he did it like that. He wanted to make sure it was done in his presidency, and we wouldn't be sitting here talking with him for like 4, 5, 6 years into another presidency that might start throwing money that way again and put us back in the same damn situation that we've already been in for 47 years.
Well, hold on. To clear the table on it, when Trump came out and said he was no new wars, all the wars in modern history that he was referring to were forever wars, like Afghanistan, where we'd been there for 20 years. We had all these nation building exercises. It wasn't go in. We have an objective. Go in and
thank you, Leia. Appreciate you.
And get the hell out. And
Happy Father's Day.
When it comes to it, all right, if you're talking about nation building and forever wars, yes, I'm completely against that. But if we're talking about an air quotes war where some countries being a dick and within 6 to 8 hours we topple, or and not topple the government, because that is a long-standing thing, but we complete our objective in a single working day. To be perfectly honest, I don't have an issue with that.
Well, listen, I don't have, and like people will say with this perspective, right? I don't have an issue with us just bombing facilities, right? And this is we're clear. To me, it's you calling that a war, right? That's not a war. Bombing facilities, bombing military targets. These are military operations. These are not wars. All right. So again, I have no problem. You said, "Oh, you got a problem with us hitting Iran with a missile?" No, I got no problem with you hitting Iran with a missile. I got no problem with you flying over and doing military operations to uphold our might or whatever we have to do. I have a problem when you're going to put boots on the ground and call it a war, and we're going to start invading. Well, that's where the problem is going to be.
And that was the whole reason why they stopped. Why they went away from declaring war. It used to be one of those things that when we went to war, it was going to be a multi-year affair. And technology got to where we're starting to get to where we could, complete military action to where there was some other things in there. I'm not going to deny that, but it's one of those things where the opportunity opened itself up where we didn't need to declare war to just go in and pee-pee slap a little teeny tiny country for doing some bullshit.
Again, now you're conflating. They did, just so we're clear, that no one needed to declare war back in the Roman Empire when they were doing little tiny countries either to go around and slap them. Go ask the conks, right? Go ask the Spartans. Right?
Yeah.
Go ask all the little tribes around that just got fucking their head beat in by the Roman Empire that had to tithe. Right?
Avarice.
Just real quick, to be clear, I'm talking about the issue where people say, "Oh, well, we haven't declared war on a country since World War II." That's what I'm getting at. I'm not talking about like greater history. I'm just talking about that like specific aspect.
Yeah,
I think the thing that we lost historically that used to be there was the conviction to end the war. If you have the conviction to end the war, there are no ends to what you will do to end it, including annihilating your enemy if you absolutely have to stop it.
I agree. We've lost. I don't want to say us as a nation. I would say the Western civilization, due to cultural.
Yeah, I agree.
Cultural doctrine has kind of made us not want to finalize the act of murder. You're absolutely, or killing.
Yeah,
I get that.
I think we developed our morals too fast into understanding too many people's sides of things, or not understanding, because understanding by itself is okay, but the conflation that the word understanding has become, where you agree with someone's point when you say I understand. That's not what we should be doing. We should understand what they're saying, and whatever it is that they're trying to do or gain, we should just end, and that'll stop them from trying. Like, if they want all of our gold, but we tell them we have no gold, they have no reason to attack us, right? If they are just trying to take our land from us, well, I mean, that's where we get to the, ending it the final way, right?
Yep.
Well, we started treating our enemy like they're our friend sitting on the other side of the table. When in reality, there's someone that's never has lived under a completely different culture and society than we've ever seen.
Well, and that's why I try to go over, right?
I don't know why he said 10 words other than to just get people to actually
and I've always
type
said before,
and not
through all
just
the ways we need to bring
like
our people back.
high.
We need to start focusing
it doesn't
on
really
how
matter.
to
like
fight
just talk.
our internal
That's all
wars here, right? How to make America.
Hey Kyle, good to see you. Good to see you. Appreciate the engagement.
An industry, right? And then powerhouse our way back to where we were, right? Which is simple to do if we stopped worrying about everything external, right? And I think that's where I think that's where we've lost in a lot of this internet. I think the internet has driven and muddied the water on what is internal and what is external, right? And has now made everything external internal. And I don't give a fuck about UK. I don't give a fuck about Australia. I didn't fight for those lands. I didn't fight for any. My family didn't fight for those lands.
Fair enough.
I care about America, right? And I care about the land I grew up in. And I can't see a nation outright just hitting our soil. It's almost impossible. There's documentary after all this.
Avarice, I actually believe in that so far that I think even if America were in a bloody civil war right now, no other country would fucking touch us because they know we have the biggest stick by orders of magnitude, not just a few levels.
Well, hold on. Where I will push against you on that is one of those things that, like, all right, the UK, it's for someone coming from the UK to America we all speak the same language, have generally the same culture, but
no, we don't.
It's a whole lot of hella difference between someone from the UK and someone from one of the stand countries.
Maybe I don't know. I don't know what
getting with that is one of those things that, like, so earlier today, Potato was covering the grape cases in the UK, and it's one of those things that if that is allowed to stand over there, it doesn't take much longer for that to come over here. Now, I agree with you that they need to deal with their issues, but it's one of those things that we need to protect ourselves from, being that we are more closely related to
Shots
UK
fired.
than we are
Shots
the stands. That if that is the case, then we need to go a whole lot more isolationist. In that case, it opens up a larger can of worms with regards to trade and infrastructure that would have to be dealt with than just like trying to help them deal with that issue. I'm not trying to be a freaking counterpoints.
I just disagree, right? I disagree that we have some culture or some owens or some kind of like innate kind of closeness to UK anymore. Where I grew up, right? I grew up in Alaska. I have more ties to Russia, and I have more knowledge to Russian history than I do UK, even coming from the West Coast. If you look along the West Coast line and people over here, there's more resemblance to Russian nations and Japanese culture than UK. You come over here, I didn't even know what a British flag looked like until I went to high school. Right.
Just to be clear, I'm just speaking in relative terms.
Sure, but relative terms, what you're saying is that we have a closer skin color, kind of, in a way. That's all I can get from that, because even if you say culture, right? No, then it's Christian. It's a Christian culture. Then that's Byzantine. That's Russian. That technically, if you want to go to the original Christian nation,
I agree with that, Beatrix.
Hold on,
the cousin Scourge.
I'm gonna land my plane here. The first Christian nation was what?
You're probably gonna say I'm wrong, but I would say the Christians in Israel.
Syria. It was Syria.
Okay, same thing, different name.
So again, our culture more stems from these people than you think. There's a great YouTube clip by hold on here. There's a great YouTube video that was done by
ooh, that'll be interesting.
The Chino Hills. What's that guy? The chapel in Chino Hills.
I'm drawing. I don't know.
What is that called?
Just real quick to that.
Hold on, I got 2 seconds. I got it in 2 seconds here. I'll pull it up.
Evan Max.
So with Jack Hibbs, there is the whole how Islam, Muslim. So I want to be very clear. If you look at Islam through 1000 AD to 1048 AD, what's that?
Oh wait, you're talking about because prior to the Islamic Revolution,
Islamic Revolution, there's something that happened more important, and this is what you're missing out on, right? What we're talking about is the rise of Ghazali, right? Now,
do me a favor. Sorry, real quick. What is the rise of Ghazali? I'm
Ghazali is probably the second most influential Muslim after Muhammad. Right. And now let's get to this perspective. Right before Ghazali came in, before this, we had what we called the Islamic Golden Age. All right. During this time in the Islamic Golden Age, they were actually encouraged to do mathematics and intertwine with us. They were sending presents to Christian nations. This again. So this is stemming
just
from
real quick. We're talking about the same thing, just different names. Because that's what I was referring to with the Islamic Revolution.
I don't call that a revolution. I call that one guy who just shot shit down.
So, sorry, that's the term that I'm familiar with it on.
Okay, well, I call it one dude who shot shit down. All right, but what we're getting at here is when you get to Ghazali and you get to where he started shooting down mathematics and getting rid of their Renaissance, right? This is where they go for the turn, right? But it doesn't mean that our nation wasn't anywhere near as close to theirs at that time. Right. So if you go all the way back, we are still the same nations as we've always been since 600 AD, since the Byzantine Empire, since it's not just Western culture or whatever with this Gothica over, because we weren't building Roman cathedrals like the UK was. We were Protestants coming in here. So if anything, we were different than the UK.
Yeah,
well, that was back then,
one
though.
Thing, you've kind of moved past it, and I'm not going to argue it. But the one point that I was kind of thinking about when you were talking about that was the difference between like nations as like individual, like the landmass versus the people, because like where I was going at it was like the Christian people, like the Western world versus the Islamic world.
Well, listen, I don't even think there's a Western world. That's where I think this is where that stereotype where Cleaner is right. We shouldn't be stereotyping things in this way. You guys are being too specific, right? We're an American world. Let's just get this right. Right? There's no Western civilization here, right? Yeah, but that Western civilization is lost. Right? We're an American civilization.
Yeah.
Right? We have our own culture. Someone wants to say, what is an American culture? I'll tell you what American culture is. I can even easily define it. Right? It's a system of embodiment that has primarily a system of Christian foundations in people's civics that want to lead a nation into a better direction, specifically the American nation.
I agree with that.
Yeah, I wouldn't disagree with that. I think, though, that like when we're talking about the historical aspects of it, there's been a lot of things that we've seen go on, and we have come from the same place. But this is why I say that.
No, what about the Russians then? They didn't come from the same place. There's a bunch of Russians. What about Orthodox?
Because hold on though, because this part's important, right? You've identified something that's actually important. At some point, we split and we went to Russia and we went to all these other places, but human beings came from one place at some point. I mean, it's ridiculous to think that someone just came to the planet and seeded the whole planet, a whole bunch of continents, and was like, "Here's people, have fun." Like, you know what I mean? So, like, we all came from the same place originally. So, what we're really talking about isn't so much our histories, so much as where we're at right now and what our histories have brought us to.
No, but what I'm trying to say is that the Western nation of Muslim or Islam, right, before the fall, back when they were in their original form of what they were, was no different than where we were today, right?
I get that. That's where I was going with it, though, is that performatively, what we've seen is advances in societies that have moved away from certain religions and other religions that have stayed in those areas, the anti-tech ones, the anti-learning, the anti, like they
I disavow. Listen, I disavow it being anti-tech, though. Right, and this is where the disavow comes in, because, and this is like the whole Sunni and Shiite thing, right? I disavow the fact that Muslim, and this I fight this with Muslims today, right? I disavow that Muslims or Muhammad would be anti-tech. I think Ghazali is anti-tech. Yes.
Yeah, we both know Ghazali was
Muslim.
No,
right?
I think Muhammad would do the horrible thing and use all tech to take over the world.
Absolutely. You're absolutely right. I think Muhammad would have implemented tech into the religion.
Sure. But I think he'd have gotten rid of it later once it no longer served a purpose.
Absolutely not. He didn't get rid of anything. You don't understand. He ran through this. He ran as a religious leader, then a political leader, and then a military leader. APM. We all know
he
this.
He got rid of all kinds of things that didn't serve purposes. Anybody in his army that didn't serve a purpose, he cut their head off.
Again, getting rid of bodies and getting rid of progress is two simple things. He would always look at technology and never get rid of it. The stirrup and the cutlass being a good example.
I appreciate that you identify their separate categories. I do. However, it does speak to the mentality still.
I understand, but the mentality of, I don't think that Muhammad, right, is going to be the type of person to act like Ghazali. Right.
Well, right. I wouldn't expect him to act the same, like exactly.
Again,
the same.
Yes, I agree with you that he would utilize technology in a militaristic formation based off today, because that's what he was at the end of time. At the end of the day, Muhammad was a military leader when he died. Agreed?
Oh yeah, by far. Yeah, I mean, like there's like 7 nations he took over.
Yeah, so if we're in that
625 AD.
If we're in that agreement that he was a military leader, not a religious leader. Remember, he started as a religious leader and ended up being a military leader. So that's how we're going to go from here.
And then political, and then military. Yeah,
correct. So if he ends on military, I think he's going to utilize all of that and utilize that power just like North Korea. And yes, he's still going to chop off heads, but he's going to utilize everything in his power to utilize tech to subdue the nations, just like North Korea. Like, I don't think
that could be. That's fair. Yeah, that's fair. I get what you mean. Yeah, I can't necessarily say he wouldn't, because I do agree. He used every technology that was available to him then.
Not only did he use every technology, he used every religion to his name. He used every. No, I'm agreeing with you. Not only did he do that, I'll take it another step further and say he used every religion to his advantage. He took a bunch Sikh. He took Sid. He took Buddhism. He took Hinduism. He took Christianity. He took all these things and put them into one. There's a whole breakdown on this.
Oh yeah, but I mean, to be fair though, that's kind of what we saw that Jesus did. Jesus went around and did a lot of learning and a lot of talking and agreeing with things and coming up with, and he came up with how Christians should behave.
I disavow that.
I don't know from what the Bible is saying, where he goes to these places, he talked to many people, he learned and
he didn't learn. He didn't learn. He didn't learn. There's a difference. He didn't take anything in. He taught. He gave new information. He didn't go around and like take the laws of the land and go, you know what? This applies to Christianity. What he said was, no, obey the laws of the land, but that has no bearing here in heaven.
Sure. And I don't know if there's any, I don't know if he actually took what they're saying and learned it, as in like it made a difference
again,
to him, right?
I'll even go a step further to say that even
talk to these people, like
I'll go even a step further and say that there's no reference to even Jesus saying that we ought to have Christmas the way we have it. So even saying when we took the pagan beliefs of the tree, Jesus never even told us to do that. So that's not even a Jesus teaching.
Like, we've got the wrong date too. We actually celebrate winter solstice. We don't actually,
Protestants do. I'm on the Orthodox calendar, so
yeah. But the thing that I'm identifying here is just that with his religion, it was different from others because others were religious. His was religion, it was politics, and it was military, all wrapped into one. That's a whole country. That's a whole person's ideology. That means that this religion is not just a religion. It's a political movement, and it is a military movement. And unless people understand the difference between the different religions and are able to frame them correctly, and this is where I agree that labels matter, right? We need to understand things correctly. I'm good with that. I don't think we should always fall into the stupid stereotypes we are shown, though. But this
well, again, I agree that there are some stereotypes that we shouldn't fall into, but I still think that we should. And again, before we get right in now, I just want to get, I've seen chat for a while. If you guys, haven't sent in a dono or the mods haven't placed the PayPal or Cash App to the potato, please take this time, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, send those donos to the potato. He's giving you guys a great panel here. Look at, we got Avarice and Cleaner getting along, not even yelling at each other,
right?
and having a great conversation. So make sure everybody hits that like, hits that subscribe button. The potato appreciates it. I know I'm probably speaking for him, but he's not speaking to say yes. So I'm just continuing to ramble.
I just didn't want to interrupt you, but yes, I appreciate that very much, Avarice. I always appreciate you on my panels. I do need to wrap up before too much longer, though, just so you guys know, if you guys have anything to close out with. I was going to say, I was going to let World Radio in, and he dipped right out. But yeah, if you guys have anything to finalize, you go ahead and do so.
Oh, I mean, me and Cleaner could have this conversation and whenever. I'm actually quite impressed that we did it without arguing. Last time we went at each other pretty rough. So this is quite nice.
We can. I have a certain style of debating and conversation that I try to do where if I sense someone might get emotional about something, I'll let them ramp up and get the emotion out, and then I'll calm them back down and try and talk. That way they get it out of their system. And I have detected pretty.
Thank you very much, Homestead, for posting those.
You don't necessarily need that.
Well, I don't. And the thing is I don't ramp down. That would be your problem, right?
Yeah. You don't need. Well, you don't need to ramp up. Is the thing. You don't need to ramp up because you're not going to an emotional place all the time with it. You're just talking about concepts, and this is why I think you and I can actually have a good conversation and communicate. And I really appreciate Tater for allowing us to have this conversation on his platform. It's pretty cool of him. Also, guys, I don't know if you know this, but clicking the like button and the subscribe buttons have been shown to
thank you so much, Mrs.
breast cancer in women and erectile dysfunction in men. And that's rated off of the Pew Research happiness rating. Happiness in your life will necessarily make those things go down, according to them. So
that's right.
Hit the like button.
Hit the like
because that makes you because hitting the like makes you happy.
Yeah,
right. Yeah, you like it. You don't get unhappy from liking something.
What a fantastic statistic.
That's funny.
It's funny. I found that one as a niche when I was screwing around with Pew Research stuff, and I was like, "What? For real?"
That's hilarious.
I just wanted to, make sure because we were talking for a while, wanted to make sure we got your plugs out there.
Yeah, I appreciate it a lot.
We need those likes, people. So.
Yeah, and it was one of those things that I had hit the like on the first stream, but I had completely forgotten until you said something to hit the like on this stream.
Oh, that's fair. Yeah. Yeah, going through 2 streams today is a bit odd, but yeah, I appreciate you shouting me out, and I really appreciate the engagement and the coming on the panel. Was there anything else that we wanted to talk about before we wrap up?
The last thing I'll say is
Cleaner wanted to finish up there. Did you have anything you wanted to finish up there, or do you want to hit this another day, Cleaner? We can always back chat it.
Oh no, sir. We could dive into this any other time and have fun with it. I'll enjoy it.
Fair.
Perfect.
The last thing I'll say is, so far as Avarice goes, is we all know this is Spinal Tap. It goes up to 11. Avarice, his goes up to 12.
Right. Right on. Well, right on. Yeah, I like I said, appreciate you guys coming on. I'll go ahead and give you guys a chance to shout anything out that you want. Cleaner, do you have anything that you'd like to shout out?
Hit that like and subscribe button. The Potato's Eye, YouTube.
That's right.
Later, guys.
Thanks. Have a good one, man. Cleaner, do you have anything that you'd like to shout out?
Just stay safe, everybody, and make sure you try and support the new guys that are coming up and new things that they're trying to do if you like them, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, we need to be supporting the people that we want to see. Thank you very much for coming on. Appreciate you. As always, you're welcome back on my panel, and you have a good night, man. Happy Father's Day for anybody that's out there. All right, Bandit, if you'd like to shout anything out.
The only thing I'll push is make sure you hit the like and subscribe. Remember, if you don't hit like, you're celebrating Promise Month. Remember, this is the month that God promised that he would never flood the world again with water, and so he gave us the rainbow,
right.
And the godless heathens perverted that with their flag.
Yep.
And so make sure that you're not one of those godless heathens perverting the flag, and hit the like and subscribe.
Heck
with
yeah.
that, Tater, have a nice night. Happy Father's Day.
Thank you very much. Again, as always, you're welcome back on, and you have a blessed night, man.
You too.
All right. Bye. All right, guys. And that wraps up the stream. Two streams today. That's a crazy day. Back-to-back streams. First time for the Tater. So I cannot tell you how much I appreciate you guys. Had a decent amount of viewership on both of my streams today. Don't know how much it'll affect the algorithm with me privating the other one, but thank you so much. I think I have more views on this stream than I did on the last one. So I really appreciate you. As always, take care of yourselves out there. Remember those Second Amendment rights within the United States. I will always say that because I want to keep you around, and your response time is always going to be faster than that of the police. Outside of the United States, please take care of yourselves the best way that you know how. As always, you could have been anywhere else in the world, but you were here with me, and I cannot tell you how much I appreciate that more and more every single day. Christ is God, the King of Kings. Happy Father's Day to all of the fathers out there. Again, you are the real ones, and I cannot tell you how much I appreciate what you do for the next generation. With that being said, oh, Geoverse, holy shit. Appreciate the engagement, man. Just caught me as I was wrapping up my stream, but I hope to see you next week or my Thursday stream. I know that I've seen you around, and I want to say you might have your own stream or something like that, but come on back next week, and I'll shout your channel out if you do have one. But with that being said, it looks like that's all the new people in the chat. Always really appreciate the engagement and any donos that have come through. I didn't check, so I don't know for sure. But anyway, with that, I will let you get on with your Father's Day. I will be having a whatever watch party in my Discord because the 300 episode, I'm super excited about that in a half an hour. Hardwire is live, and I want to say there was other people live too. Reexamination is live, and bear with me. Sorry, guys. Of course, my internet's going to be crappy. Okay, so Reexamination is live, and Hardwire is not, of course. And Count Emmett is live. So if you guys want to go into another live, feel free to go check them out. With that being said, I will get out of your hair and hopefully see you guys in the Discord for the whatever party later on this evening. Thank you very much. And again, the Potato signing off.
call it fate. We're breaking chains. We're waking fast. So they hold on us. We'll never lost. Purple or blue, white or black, we all bleed red, that's a fact. Fools, fuels, freedoms.